Monday to Friday on Twitch. Southern Sentinel, Southern Truth 79. G'day, this is Jamie McNichol of the Southern Sentinel, Southern Truth. Just got a couple of shout outs right now. One, a big shout out to AdelaideFreedom.com for posting up the Dr. Judy Markovich interview that we conducted on Southern Truth. And we got a Rumble account, Southern Truth Rumble account. Beautiful day by the boulevard. We got a couple of sailboats here. Very, very beautiful. Yeah, just a little bit of wind. But I want to say once again, thank you to AdelaideFreedomRally.com for posting up the interview that we conducted last week. You guys are awesome. And also, please go to Southern Truth Rumble account. Cheers, guys. We'll catch you soon. Yeah.
Well, but there are some simple. To give Dan and myself a platform to kind of keep this case rolling. And you can see we're still here, man. We're not going anywhere until we get some answers, some clear answers about what happened with David Crowley. But, you know, we also want to make sure that people understand that there is absolutely nothing that proves David Crowley guilty. It's all in the back of my books. I know you can't see it that well, but there are some simple questions here that all prove David Crowley is not guilty. In this country, the greatest country ever, you are innocent until proven guilty, and we are on a mission to make sure that it stays that way, regardless of all the things that are happening in this world, that are happening in this country. I want people to know there are still people out there who believe that you are innocent until proven guilty, period. Because something like this can happen to all of us, to any of us here.
After you shared the complete script with me.
Yeah. So, Greg, let's go right back to the beginning because there are some.
It plays out exactly what's going on in the country right now. I mean, after reading through that script, wow.
Wow.
That's all
I appreciate that.
But, Greg, let's go right back to the very beginning because there is some of our audience here that have got no clue about what we are talking about.
Really?
Yeah, there is because we've got some people from Australia. We've got some people from Australia like Cass from Western Australia that you spoke to in the
Are
chat
these
room
people that
yesterday.
have never seen that promo I just played? Like obviously, I put a
Right.
different like
That's
music
true.
and stuff to it, but it was
That's
the same
true.
promo that's been out there, and that got millions, tens of millions of hits. If I remember,
there is
hundreds of millions.
There are some people that have got no idea what we're
Oh,
talking about.
okay, cool.
So, Greg, if I put the microphone over to you, just educate a little bit what's been going on.
Okay, so David Crowley is a soldier who served this country. He is a film maker, and he was accused of murdering his wife, murdering his 5-year-old child, and killing himself. And the bodies were found on January 17th, 2015. And within 24 hours, the police are basically saying David Crowley is guilty and the public is not in any risk. And it's pretty much case solved without saying.
It was pronounced a murder. Sorry for interrupting. It was pronounced
murder suicide.
Before the coroner even had a chance to pronounce it a murder suicide, which is it's impossible. That's not how protocol works. Okay, the coroner has to pronounce. Anyway, yeah, my bad. Just you know how passionate I am about this. It's ridiculous.
I know you are. I know you're very passionate about this. Yeah. So, go ahead.
So we are kindly been fixating on the COVID thing, as you're aware of, Greg. But today is all about the grey state. David Crowley, his family, the investigation, and also exposing how that investigation was conducted at the crime scene of the house, how many inconsistencies by the FBI, the police investigation. We've seen so many photographs of the investigation that does not add up to the quote-unquote murder. You've written a book. We've got the dog.
Just let me interject this really quick. The dog who lived there for weeks apparently learned how to flush the toilet.
Yeah.
Still living. I mean, that's how ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Dog had a full bag of food.
Yeah.
And when remember when we went through the crime scene photos, Greg? Mm-hmm. Full bag of food. The dog knows where his food comes from. He would chew through that bag of food. Instead, he chose to eat his owners. I mean, that's just one of the many craziness things.
Yeah.
And thank you for telling me there's people in here who do not know the case. Because, I mean, this is things that ridiculous things. I mean,
if it was cats. If it was cats, maybe.
Oh my God! Just wow! And the thing is, again, the script. If you have not read the script, are you going to do is that in any of your books yet? You have 2 now, right, or 3? How many do you have out now?
Yeah, I've got 3.
Have you been able to reproduce the script, or would that be like a copyright thing?
Yeah, I really haven't yet. I'm really thinking about that because there's so much new data that came out. This was before we had David Crowley's day one journal. So now we have David Crowley's journal. Now we have so many different documents that we just did not have back then. We didn't have any of the scripts when I wrote this.
And so do I, thanks to you. And I went through them. And right now where we're at, I mean, he talked about exactly what's going on right now with this pandemic.
It is really crazy.
And the thing that I think scared people the most, and why? Okay, so why would they off this guy? Well, A, he did 3 tours. B, he was a veteran and became awake to what was going on. And C, had the funding. So supposedly this guy lost his mind and decided to kill himself, his young daughter, and his wife right after he got the funding to make this movie, which would show nothing you've seen on Netflix, nothing you've seen on Prime, nothing you've seen will expose what he was exposing, because he was showing you straight up. And this was the scariest thing, I think, to people, was that they're watching your every move. They're watching you through your devices. And they called people like Alex Jones nuts for talking about this. And that was a fact. But they were showing you there's actually people in the room. Anyway, I got to calm down because it's been a long time since I had a chance to talk to this. But what David Crowley was going to expose what was more than the general public probably could handle. Go ahead.
It's the wrestler in you. You can't help it.
Exactly.
A Slim Jim.
Not enough bubble gum.
Get rowdy.
It's just they murdered. I mean, the fact they murdered a 5-year-old.
That's a big deal, man.
And as we get further into this, I'm going to shut up and let Greg go because, I mean, he's the man when it comes to this. and I'm studying from him, and I have been studying from him for years. When I first put out these videos and got involved in this case, your research and Dan Hennon's research were the things that I was using to support my theories, hypothesis, or facts, if you will, of this case, and nothing added up. Like absolutely nothing.
That's true. Yeah. And it still doesn't. Seven years later, almost 7 years later, it's like the more information that we get, the more data that we get. For whatever reason, they're still releasing data that we've been asking for years. So now we have all of this new data that is coming out, and it just really helps prove our side that David Crowley is not guilty. There is nothing in this data that proves David Crowley did any of these crimes, period. I mean, we have to really start there. People who are like, well, maybe he went crazy. Maybe he went this. Well, maybe you jump off of a freaking log. Maybe we don't live in the world of any maybes.
Right.
We live in the real world. And if we're going to act like this guy is a child killer, oh yeah, I want some damn proof. And I'm sure many people,
all of his brothers, everybody that when you go to war with people, they're your brothers, and all his brothers completely turned their back on him in support of that narrative. And Greg went to the trouble of attempting to interview a lot of these guys. They would talk in chats, or they would talk on Facebook group, the David Crowley Facebook group, but they would never get on camera with you and support their opinion now, would they?
No, you're absolutely right. I think, I think
brothers.
Yeah, I know, man. And that's hard. Privately, I think a lot of people that served with David Crowley know, and for whatever reason, publicly at that time, at least, they did not want to come out. When Eric Nelson's film, A Gray State, the sloppumentary came out, we got, more people. And if you look up, there are some weird things that happened with the people.
Oh yeah, Greg was on a Netflix documentary about this as the crazy conspiracy theorist.
I was one of two. Yeah,
and Dan Hennon, right?
I think
Tony Mead was in there too, wasn't he? You guys were.
Who's that?
Tony Mead, was he in there? Was that? Oh, that was Handy. So that was a different. Yeah, that was a different documentary of slandering people who.
That was another slandering video.
Yeah. But the whole point is that even his own family, it was supporting that narrative, and it really sucks the way.
Yeah, David.
I guess the main point is, we'll talk about Hendrix, we'll talk about all the clowns.
Oh, geez, we're gonna go there. Okay, all right.
I haven't forgot about any of them, and I know you haven't either. They're in your book. But when we talk about this and what happened, here's the thing: these people were involved in making the film with him, and they were supposed to pick up the torch and finish the movie. And guess what? How long's it been? It's been 5 years now, 6?
Almost 7 years.
Seven years. And the
years.
movie is still yet to come out.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't these people involved in the film pick the torch up? They had the funding. Yeah. What? They had the funding to make this movie. Why didn't it come out? Well, I think we know why.
Well, you got the vendors. See, that's what people don't understand. All the vendors are very in on the whole one way or the other. They're all the chosen ones, all the movie theaters, they have to kind of pre-approve movies before they're even made most of the time. People don't know that. They have to be pre-selected.
Oh, yeah, no, it didn't get to that point, though. No, it got to the point where he had enough funding to actually shoot the movie, to actually put it together. They had started shooting some scenes on a small scale, but and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but he actually got $1 million+ to actually frickin' make this into a movie. Whether the vendors would pick it up or not, is irrelevant. The fact that this movie was going to come out, even if it's an independent film, he got the funding, right, Greg?
Yeah.
He did not get the funding. What happened was the company that he was working with, the Michael Entertainment Group, thought that it was going to cost about $30 million, and so that's what they were prepping for. So they were working on getting that funding for the script. Now, of course, David would have gotten paid, and
not a couple $1 million though.
He would have got something out of it. Definitely,
he got some to start with, but I didn't know that. Okay. Great.
Well, But the other
Go ahead.
issue is if they would have allowed him to film on different locations. They got to grease the pass to
Right. Good point.
Right.
get permits and everything. That's the big problem. That's
I guess the point is he was starting to get some major funding.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it was a green light. I mean, it was
Absolutely
a
no
green
reason why
light.
somebody would put their heart and soul into this.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then,
a whistleblower would
Yeah.
off himself when the momentum's going his way.
Right.
Oh, hell
But
no.
Greg, this leads me to the question. I don't think I've answered. I don't think I've asked this question to you before. But was any of the movie filmed beforehand, before the murder? None
No.
of the. None of
No,
the.
No,
they
it was-
did some. I wouldn't say filming they would use in the film, but they did some mock
Yeah.
True.
setup
Yes.
of what the film would be, but
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think between 2012, after the Gray State 2012 trailer took off, which you guys played, which was awesome that you played that first. Once that took off in August of 2012, David and his crew were off to the races.
Yeah.
And so what they started doing is they started going to different places. They were filming scenes, right? They have a couple of scenes where they're filming of people being dragged out of their house.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at what happened with China, I know you guys were talking about all that stuff. Which you're talking about Australia, all these other countries. I mean, that's what was happening. They were literally dragging people out of their homes, and so so David was busy filming all of these different scenes.
Yep.
These were what they called concepts, concept
He was a
footage. So
visionary.
yeah, it was all going to be used to pitch to a big Hollywood company, and they found it. They had it. David had this working deal. So for people that say that David did not have a deal, the deal was dead, that is absolutely not true. The deal was going on up until David died. The only reason the deal died is because David died. And my view is that once David is dead, and everybody is saying that he killed all of these people and killed himself, the project is completely dead. And it's crazy.
His brother, like Mason Hendricks. I mean, these people that were his brothers, not only in arms, but making the movie, completely dropped it too. They
Well,
kept
he was-
putting
he
it up.
just-
They'd be like, it's coming out soon. It's still 7 years now later.
Yeah, he just worked on the film, but Hendricks didn't serve with David. That was
He
Mitch.
wouldn't do an interview with you either. Would
That
he?
was
Oh,
Mitch
no,
Heil.
Hendricks.
Yeah.
My bad. It was there was another name.
That was Heil. Yeah, Mitch Heil.
Correct. Yes.
Mitch Heil. But Hendricks is kind of a strange one because he was, out doing all of the media. So he's in all of these like early media things. He's not in any police reports, period. He's not mentioned in any of those documents.
Nope.
And I'm like, how does this guy know so much, but the police didn't even talk to him? I mean, it's really, really weird.
Thanks for correcting me too, because it's very important that we put it.
Well, there's so much to it, Eric. There's so much to it, and there's I mean, you have to. There's so much that we didn't know back then that we learned later on, and so that was the other reason for this book was to help people kind of get caught up on all of these things. But there's so much that did not make it into.
Why has nobody picked it up and ran with it?
Because I mean, who is going to think about this? Well, what Hollywood company is going to say, hey, let's go with the project that this murderer. They're not going to do that.
Right. No, I mean, just anyone picked it up and tried to even make it an independent film.
Danny August Mason tried. Danny August Mason did try, and it's possible some other people did try. Yes.
Okay, so that's new to me because last I checked in with you, which is probably a while ago when it came to him.
Yeah.
I thought he was supporting the whole narrative still of what happened.
He was, but he was still trying to move forward with David Crowley's project.
But he never did. So is it possible that he pretended like he was trying to move forward?
That's a good point too. He became a Freemason soon after that too.
Oh, what a coincidence!
Now it's blowing up. Now it's blowing up.
I was saying that these people were kept saying over and over again that the movie's going to come out, and it's still waiting. I would love to take that script and make it.
I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think somebody tried
funding. Yeah, how are you going to do that? And who's going to actually do that? You want yourself and your family off? They'll probably off your grandma, grandpa, and your dog too. Just to make a point.
Yep.
Right.
I'm surprised you left the dog alive.
Yeah. Greg, we do have a question in the chat room from Rick. He said, was David not trying to get everyone to sign over their rights?
He was trying to get, because he had two partners. So he had Mitch Heil, who was the soldier that served with David, a childhood friend. He signed away his rights, no problems, et cetera, et cetera. Heil is also the only one that I've ever heard publicly state that David Crowley did not have PTSD. All of the other people are kind of like, well, he might have had it. It's possible. La, da, 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 da. So Heil, even though he doesn't like me, I know he doesn't like me. He doesn't like a lot of us. Maybe.
You cannot make up the name.
His
last name is really Heil.
I don't know if he's German or not. I have no idea if he's German.
The anomalies, Greg, are off the show, right?
His
last name's freaking Heil.
Yeah.
Well, then you have Danny August Mason.
Right, Mason. Like,
Mason.
Wow, man. There's so much craziness with the story. My bad, guy.
Yeah, so Danny August Mason was the only other guy that was supposed to sign his rights away. And Danny August Mason never signed his rights away. He kept stalling. He was stalling up until David died, basically. Yeah. And then David died, and he's like, okay, maybe now I can move forward with this project. Why the hell would you want to move forward with a project that, that you're claiming this guy killed his family, and you want to move forward with his project? I mean, to me, there's just no logic there, except for Green.
And for people who are just listening into this and really not familiar with the story, at the end of the story is that David lost his freaking mind. And he literally wrote what in blood on the wall, Greg?
He wrote Allah Akbar.
You're talking about Allah, right? Allahu Akbar on the wall, and this is the definition.
Then he writes it differently. He writes it differently in a separate room. He writes Allah, ALLAH, on a notepad in a separate room, and then he walks over to the kitchen, and then he types up some note. I have loved you all with all of my heart. So you have 3 writings. 3 different places. None of them are signed. There's no real proof that David did any of those 3 writings, except for maybe the I have loved you all with all of my heart, because that was written on December 19th. So that was written way before David had even died. So that's a whole nother thing there too that just came out that I just found out because of these new documents. And if anybody wants to find those documents, go to thegraystage.wordpress.com, scroll down to the bottom of the website, and you can download all of the documents, all of the new documents, everything that I have. You can download it right there,
which I have.
Thank you very much. Now, please back them up just in case.
Yeah. Well, Greg, do you want to go through some of those documents tonight? Because I know we do.
Whatever you want now. Whatever you want. Whatever you guys want to do.
Because, ladies and gentlemen in the chat room and are currently watching, we do have a never before heard 911 call that Greg passed over to me early this morning, Australia time. Eric, it's in the chat room in the
from David's neighbor, who Greg and myself and her have gone back and forth. You've gone back and forth with her way more times than me. I had the pleasure of going back and forth with her to displeasure.
You were close. Yeah, you were this close.
My God.
Yeah. Now, before we do play this 911 call, what got me so thrilled about this whole thing was when the police went into the house and they didn't even look up into the ceiling near the doorway where there was a bullet hole.
It was already a mooted suicide before they even walked in the door. What do they need to look? Anyway, that's freaking bad joke, but I cannot wait. Where'd you find this phone call, Greg?
So I found this in a comment that Crip Rick, so he's actually in our chat room right now. So I did a show with him. Judy started trolling that show and started leaving all of these comments. So I started answering all of the comments that she left. And one of them was about her 911 phone call, which we have the actual transcript. We've had that for years. But she was saying that, you guys don't know how to basically research because we haven't listened to it. I'm like, why would I need to listen to the call? I've read the transcript. I think the transcript is actually more unbiased. Probably. And I would recommend people go to read the transcript first. But I was like, wow, so she's basically saying that if we listen to the police audio, then that's going to change my mind about her 911 call. And it did not. I mean, I want to hear your guys'
probably
thoughts on it.
Right.
That's what I want.
Your view. And the thing is, I'm sure that you've wondered this too, Greg. Was she in on it? You know what I mean? That's the more I
don't think she's smart enough. I don't think she's smart enough, really. I mean, all of these
pay her a few bucks, you know, for the do something for her, you know.
I don't know. These aren't the sharpest. These aren't the sharpest tools.
No, she's really dumb. You're right about that.
Right.
Really
So, Eric, we do have that 911 call in the private chat here in StreamYard.
I got to get my freaking recorder ready, man. So I can record it too right now.
You know, if they wait any longer to do this film, they're not going to be able to find anybody that could even see after all these people getting vaxxed and all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be able to use a camera.
I've thrown it out there with Greg. You know, Greg, how can we pick this script up? And
I really think once his name gets cleared, it'll be a green light.
You think it will?
Yep, it'll be a green light. Just have to.
Cleared though, Greg.
Under Biden's administration, this DOJ and everything. I don't know.
I mean, they don't know what's going on either. They're not sharp. They're Judy Prochnow level, so they don't know what the hell is going on.
Like, Greg has got as far to actually talk with police officers from Apple Valley Police, where the supposed murder suicide was committed. You actually spoke with these people, and they have concerns too.
Yeah, several people from the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group have talked to police and have talked to people involved, the authorities involved in this case. And man, some of them, it's kind of like, you know, publicly they're saying one thing and you just look at them and, you know, do you really believe what you're telling me here, or are you just going through those motions? That's the question. I don't know. I don't know what's in their heart. So.
Sure.
Yeah. And also, Greg, we got this from Sophia in the chat room. Don't forget to tell us about the fake document.
Oh, the fake document. There was a police document. Somebody created a police document acting like it was coming from one police detective to the other.
Was his last name Mason, or he had badge number 33 too, or something?
His badge number 666, I think.
It was from Detective Shane Klokanos to Detective Tommy Booth. So those are the two cops that it was from. Sophia is the one who actually sent it to the authorities to pretty much ask, is this a real document? Because it did not sound like anything that they were saying, right? It was very like, oh, David is guilty. He was smoking weed, blah, blah, blah. He must have went crazy, et cetera, et cetera. The police... The Apple Valley City attorney sends us a letter. It sent it to her and to me on the exact same day at the exact same time, saying this is an absolute fraudulent document. So somebody created a fake document and was passing it out to try to convince people that David Crowley was guilty. So this is more of that. Remember, Eric, we were talking about with Sean, where Sean was kind of saying, "Hey, I have this knowledge, but I can't share it." Right? It's like all this knowledge. Yeah, we know David's guilty, but we can't share it with you now. So this kind of falls into that same camp where people are claiming to have knowledge of David Crowley's guilt, but they're not going to share it with you
because they were intimately involved with him. They're you know what I mean? They know friends, so we don't know anything.
Exactly. They got it all figured out. And if you would just comply, Eric, if you just comply with them, you know, maybe in the future, if you kiss their ass, maybe they'll share some of this with you and keep your mouth shut. And maybe they'll share some of this with you. And this kind of falls in that same thing. Someday. Yeah.
Before we all get murdered.
Yeah.
It's such an insane story, and there's so many layers, and the fact
so much to it.
I mean, the fact that you already had so many anomalies, if you want to call them that, so many things add up, and things are still to this day 7 years.
It's getting weirder
coming out. I was blown away that you had a 9/11 call from Judy. Like
it's pretty crazy.
I saw the transcript. I'd never heard it.
Yeah, she was so confident that this 911 call would pretty much show you all that, hey, man, you know, her 911 call, there's nothing weird about her 911 call is basically what she's saying. And so you guys listen to it. You tell me what you think. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this 911.
Right. Eric, you want to put that 911 call up, man?
Yeah, one momento. Do a little copy and paste.
And before we play that...
My computer just blew up. I'm looking in the chat room. It's like, don't put the transcripts on the printer, and your printer and computer will blow up.
That. This is a 9-minute, 11-second long tape. Is it recorded?
Right.
426.
Yes.
It's 426. Yeah.
And Greg, Sophia said this in the chat room, and they copyright some of the crime scene photos.
Yes, so there was a photo that we've been trying to get. We've been trying to get a photo of where the gun landed. That's all. Where did the gun land? So somebody had a photo of the bodies where the gun was, and they decided to put a copyright on it. I mean, these people are nuts.
Well, of course
they're nuts. It's crazy. It's stupid.
All right, I got it. I'm giddy. I can't wait to hear it. I only listened to the first 30 seconds.
Can you share screen?
Yep. Here we go, brother.
Here we go. Here we go, guys.
Please let us know in the chat room. Let me know. Make sure this is coming through loud and clear, okay?
Yeah. All right, here it is, guys. Just hold on for a second. Here we go.
Police and fire on me.
Yep, coming through loud and clear.
Yes, this is Judy Procknell, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive.
Yes.
I think there's been a murder or suicide next door.
What's going on?
Well, wait.
Wait. Can we pause? What? What? Hold on. Whoa. What? I think there's been murder, suicide. She really just said that. My bad. I should just let it play. That's the part.
It could happen. I mean, I could see some people I know. I could see that happening, but it does sound fishy. I mean,
I think there's been a murder. Okay.
He sounds like he's just having a good old time, and you know what I think?
Let me start it over.
Police and fire on me.
Well, I'm eating my set. Oh, bad.
This is Judy Procknell, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive.
Yes.
I think there's been a murder or suicide next door.
What's going on?
Well, we've noticed that they haven't been around, and there were Christmas presents on the stoop. So I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely some bodies in the living room.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're gonna have to pause this again. So, the dog had been there for weeks and never heard it barking. Oh my God, my bad. This is wow.
You know, she fed that dog, man. She.
There's a dog. Okay.
Now, before you continue, we will be share screen the transcript. I've got the transcript, so after this, we'll put the transcript on. Right? So here we go. And welcome everybody. We've got Zadikin from Victoria.
Oh my God.
We've got Cass from Western Australia. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching this. This is a 911 call of the event. Play it. Keep playing.
I'm just gonna start it over again.
Police and fire on me.
Yes, this is Judy Procknell, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive.
Yes.
I think there's been a murder or suicide next door.
What's going on?
Well, we've noticed that they haven't been around, and there were Christmas presents on the stoop. So I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely some bodies in the living room.
Oh, okay. Stay on the line with me just a minute. Do you know what their address is?
Well, I'm 10.
There's definitely some bodies in the. Fuck, we're only at 37 seconds, Greg. But because Greg and I have gone through the crime scene photos, and I don't think it was that obvious from the crime scene photos I've seen that there were definitely bodies in the living room. Greg?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we didn't get any crime scene photos that really showed where the bodies were up until this one that was copywritten. And yeah, one other photo that showed the three bodies. That's really it. So,
oh my God. Yeah, you guys should have played this without me on here because this is insane.
1055, and they would be to the west of me.
Okay, so
like 1050 or whatever.
Okay, so if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy, would it be the house to the right or the left?
And look at those Christmas presents. They've never been touched, and they're still wrapped.
They've been there for how long?
Well, those were actually stacked up. So those are not how Colin Procknell found them. Colin Procknell said that they were actually scattered, and so he goes up to the door and he stacks them up. And then he's well, first like, oh, maybe I'll take them back home. Then
because we always go to our neighbor's house and stack their packages.
Yeah, stack them up.
Got it.
Yeah.
And Greg, why wasn't there any photograph of the snow prints at the front of the house? Surely somebody would have been walking in the snow to the door.
Well, again, and snowed that over. But the fact, I didn't know that, Greg, as we go through this, we want to separate the wheat from the chaff. The fact that the neighbor came over and stacked them back up, because that was one of my points of contention a while back, was the fact that how could they just be still stacked like that after 2 weeks in the winter? You know, so
in the wind,
thank you for
you know,
clarifying
like
that.
probably.
Yeah.
And that even makes it goofier. I went over and I restacked their back. Look at, he stacked them all nice. Got the this is insanity.
But where's the footprints on the snow? Where's the footprint?
They could have been snowed over, though, Jamie. I think is
Yeah,
what.
yeah, that's true.
Well,
That's true.
you have the Prochnos that look through the window. You have the cops that show up. They look through it. So you have already a trampled crime scene, a compromised crime scene there, because it could be their footprints. And that's why the police, it's in some of the 464 photos that we got, it is of the police taking photos of their shoes. And that's probably why. But at that point, it's hard.
Yeah.
Now, Greg, at what point did the neighbors say they went and stacked them up? Is that they stacked them up and then looked through the window? And that's exactly okay. So they stacked them up like that and then looked at, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Right. What are you seeing in there?
It looks like there's a pile of bodies, and one, like the head is eaten off.
Oh, no.
I'm killed by the dog. And
Again, from the crime scene photos that I've seen, with the limited vision we can see from the bodies, you cannot be able to see that. But
Well, hold on, Eric. Just hold on. Sophia says this in the chat room. There was barely any snow during the time frame from Christmas to January the 17th.
Oh.
Barely an inch, if that. So where are? Well, here it is. You got footprints there. Is that the footprints? Would you?
that's a whole lot of footprints. Did they actually survey the footprints? And
This is probably the police. A lot of this is probably from the police, because this is like this footage is from hours later. You can see they have the actual crime scene tape up. So all of that is up. So this is after they walked through the whole house. After they cleared that house. So the police show up. One of them looks through the front window. There's other cops, at least one or two other cops, that do a 360. So there's their footprints around this whole house. So if there was anybody else's footprints, it's all trampled.
You know what I find interesting about this, and this is the first time I've seen this actual picture, Greg, after we've viewed thousands of pictures. I know
this is new.
There's footprints coming from if you look to the right of where the porch patio is, or where the front steps are, you see some footprints coming from that direction. What would be the? It's because they're trampling all over the house. I got it.
Because they're going back and forth.
There'd be a lot more footprints everywhere if this was it's interesting. There's just that one little trail, but anyway, and the fact that is it Sophia in here that was talking about the fact there was less than an inch of snow? You would think there'd be a lot more footprints than just.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe we're just.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm overanalyzing. This is insane. We're only a minute through, Greg. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough.
Well, don't forget. Yeah. That's those footsteps are coming right from the driveway where the police would have pulled up.
Yeah, but not the ones over here.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but that could have been
from the neighbor.
The one that called.
Where's Judy's house, Greg? In relation to this photo,
if you're looking at David Crowley's house, her house would be to the left of this.
Okay.
Yes.
But they had to put up that the yellow tape. So
the crime scene tape. Yeah.
Yeah, the crime scene tape. They would have went over.
Have you ever tried to reach out or try to figure out who lived to the right? The people on the right.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one of the other neighbors. I believe that's one of the neighbors that heard fireworks or gunshots, possibly.
They didn't hear the dog barking for a couple.
They didn't hear the dog. No. Mm-mm.
And then, Greg, just correct me if I'm wrong. Not long ago, there was people living in this house that sold this house just recently. Yeah.
Across the street, there was a family. He's one of the he is probably the last person to see David on Christmas Eve, and so he lived across the street until 2017, and so that's when they actually moved out.
Yeah, but didn't a new family move into this David Crowley's house?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. So yes, there was,
and then
they
house,
moved out. Yeah,
and then they moved out. The house got sold just early this year or last year, I should say.
I'm not sure what the current status is of that home. I know it's been sold and then resold, but I don't know if there's anybody living in there now currently.
Right.
And last question, Greg. The people that you reached out to that we're seeing in this photo right here, to the left of the house,
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to speak with them?
Not yet.
Because I mean, I'd just be curious. You can see how close it is in proximity to the house. Again, you have a dog in there for weeks. You would think that they would have heard the dog. That would be my main question to them if I had a chance to talk to them. But that's that's the biggest thing there, dude. I mean, I own a couple dogs, and
Probably can hear them. Yeah.
So if you haven't already hit the follow button, hit the follow button right now, because this is a bombshelling
this is
screen right now. I have not seen this. Eric has not seen this.
No.
It's just a 911 call. We are going to show you the transcript after all this. If you want to go back to the start of this, Eric, I don't know.
Well, you know what? Let's go through it. We'll talk about it, and then we'll play it through one more time and in its entirety at the end of the show without us talking. Because does that sound good? Like I'll play it again at the end of the show, so without our commentary. That makes sense.
All right.
The hands look real.
The what? The hands look real? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I think so.
Let me. Like I said, there's no way I can show.
Or the head.
The hands look real.
The hands look real. Okay.
Yeah.
What the?
Well, because Colin, because Colin had said that they were mannequins, that's what they look like. And one of the police reports, Colin Prochnow is saying that it looks like they were mannequins that were set up to make it look like somebody was home when they weren't.
Was she told this before the call?
This is where it gets weird, because he also calls them too. So she calls the cops. He calls the cop. They're both calling the cops from two different places, two different locations. It gets pretty weird. So we don't have his 911 call. Who would communicate to Judy though that the hands didn't look, or the mannequins though? Colin came back over when Colin first looked through the window. He went back home. He talked to Judy, and basically that's what he said. He's like, they look like mannequins or something. So that's why she is clarifying that the hands look real.
So, Greg, Mary asked in the chat room, what hand could you see from the window?
Good question, because there's only one. There's only David's hand. Kamel's hands, his wife's hands, are both missing, quote unquote missing. David's hand, the only hand that he has is his left hand. The gun is found next to his left hand. David is right-handed. Yep. With his right hand. And his daughter had her whole arm ripped out, completely gone.
Say that part again you just said, Greg.
Daughter's.
What hand it is.
What hand?
Found.
Okay, so David's the gun was found next to David's left hand. And David is right-handed. David shoots with his right hand. And the right hand is gone. David's right hand is completely, quote-unquote, missing. Kamel's hands are, quote-unquote, missing. The daughter's arm, her right arm is, quote-unquote, missing. Completely missing.
Mm-hmm. I remember that too.
This dog, if the dog did all of this damage, it's very picky and choosy. It's not saying, "Hey, I'm going to eat all of David's hands." No, I'm just going to eat one of David's hands.
Let's not forget that the full bag of dog food, as we saw in the crime scene photos, was still sitting there untouched on the freaking counter.
Right.
Yeah, because Scott, who was Zadikin, he said this in the chat room. Interesting, because Judy said the hands look real.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's all insane. It is. We're only a minute 15 in. This is.
Well, you know what? This might even be weirder than we think. I mean, she may have seen the hands after they were cut off on the floor, and she didn't say the ones that are cut off on the floor. And then maybe the cops did it. I mean, God, we don't know. Like,
we're trying to figure out. We're still trying to figure out where the dog where it knows its dog food comes from. The bag is sitting there untouched.
Well, Greg, that's a question I want to ask before we continue. Where did the police find the dog in the house? Was it in the lounge room or in a different room of the house?
So when they found the dog and dog owners, maybe they can shed some light on this. The dog is circling these bodies almost like it is actually protecting them. So I don't know, is it protecting its food or is it protecting these people because it loves these three people?
Yeah, right.
Dog owners would know that. I'm not a dog owner, so I don't know.
Dogs will dog will protect its own boundary.
Well, they would have tested the feces. It would have been crapping all over the place. They would have tested how many craps that they. I mean, I'm not.
They never tested feces.
No, they didn't trust.
They never tested feces. But you're right. You're right. They should have, and that would have cleared up if the dog ate anything. Because they did not test the dog feces, they cannot prove the dog ate anything.
Exactly. Now they walked in the door and said murder suicide. End of story.
Yeah, Cash says the same thing that I did. If it's their dog, it would have been protecting the people.
Okay, good to know.
And it would have chewed through its dog food before it chewed through the owner.
Well, they would have killed the dog and checked his stomach too. Sometimes they do that. If you know.
Yeah.
Nope.
Since before Christmas.
Okay, and so you haven't seen.
And all their Christmas lights are still on in the house. And my husband said he saw a gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, stay on the line with me just a minute.
Oh, so is that Judy's house right there?
Yes.
Well, I can't wait till you get a chance to. Do you know who the people are? Do you know their names? The people who live to the right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a chance to talk to them.
It sure would.
I want to know what's behind the house. I want to know, like, is there woods back there? Is there a place to sneak in and out?
Oh, there's a cracked door which the dog could have ran out.
So Greg, Scott asked in the chat room.
Laugh, but God.
Yeah. So Scott asked in the chat room. I know you probably answered this many times over, but Scott is very interested. How long was the dog in the house for, and how did the dog have to eat?
Well, according to the official theory, it was in there for 3 weeks, and it had no water, apparently, except for any toilets, and it only had access to 1 or 2 toilets, none of which looked like a dog had tried to drink anything out of those toilets.
Did learn how to flush toilets though during that time.
Yeah,
and clean them so that it didn't have any dog hair or anything like that on it too. But so apparently for 3 weeks, all it had was these 3 bodies.
And we also, Greg, as we were going through the crime scene photos way back when, I remember specifically looking for piles of dog crap. And
that's right, you were, yeah.
Remember that? And piss. That would be everywhere. It wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was in certain areas. Yeah.
And
for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I leave my dogs home for like 8 hours, and the whole house is freaking trash. But this dog,
right.
Whatever.
And the dog had 2 bags of dog food, but it was on a higher level than the dog can reach.
It was. I mean, it's ridiculous. 3 weeks a dog.
It was on the ground.
Oh my God! Yes. Yeah. This is insanity. All right, so I get to see.
What kind of dog is this? What kind of dog was it?
It's like a medium-sized beagle, half beagle breed, like a mixed breed.
Yeah, they can be.
Another thing that should be noted is that when a dog, if it supposedly ate human matter, it would get very sick and crap way bigger too. I mean, it's just going through those photos and not seeing crap hardly anywhere and pee hardly anywhere. And do you still have all those photos? You do, don't you, Greg?
Yes, sir.
Because I've lost a lot of them when my channel got nuked.
Got them all for you.
Yeah, because I want to go back through those because there would be. I mean, why don't we ask somebody who's an expert on dogs? 3 weeks, how much crap and pee would be around the house? Well, the whole house would be crap and pee.
Great question.
How many piles?
It'd be everywhere. At 3 weeks. Anyway,
all right, here's a weird take from me. Okay, now maybe it's the area, maybe it's those people. The wrapping paper, the Christmas wrapping paper on those presents. Maybe I saw it wrong. It was black and white.
What you didn't see wrong is how perfect and how well they looked. I mean, they looked like they weren't touched by the elements whatsoever, laying out there for how many weeks? Whether they're stacked up right or wrong, I mean, they would have been torn up in the winter, especially if they were all over the freaking yard. There would have been animals. It could have came. I mean, it's just that's the insanity. Let's.
But you know what?
I want to go back to the presents and show you how perfect and pristine they look after laying out there for how many weeks, Greg?
3.
3 weeks. This is the way that the wrapping paper looks. Are you kidding? You gotta be kidding me.
If somebody staged that, they might have thought through what color should I put on these, and there might have been a reason.
It's brown. It's brown and white.
Interesting.
Is it?
They're gold. Yeah, but I'm saying, look at how There's not one tear in these packages. 3 weeks in the winter, and they were in the.
There is a $14,000 check in that brown bag right there.
Really?
Yeah, from David's dad.
And Greg, what about the newspaper that was found in the letterbox?
Yes. So there should have been 3 newspapers. There was only 1 that was found there. There should have been 3.
Oh, the dog's been reading
Judy
the
probably
newspaper.
grabbed them and was reading them.
The dog took the papers and started reading, I guess.
We know he's a fast learner.
Well, he needed newspapers to read while he was sitting on the toilet, crapping in the toilet and flushing it to get water. I mean,
FCC uncertain.
it is, and we have to do this because it's that ludicrous.
It is. It really is.
And all the Christmas lights are still on in the house. And there's my husband said he saw.
Oh, it is black and white.
Oh, hold on there. We gotta. My bad, but
It was black and
we got to close to the package. So these packages supposedly are for 3
It is
weeks
black and
in the
white.
winter.
It is black
All right,
and
think about this. Think about this,
Look at
guys.
that.
Someone thinking they're going to be staging a scene doesn't want a lot of attention. They want packages to be there to be part of the narrative, but they don't want it to attract too much attention. So no one would notice really too much if they've been there too long. At least not people driving by like who don't live there.
There is not one tear that I can even find in these
Right.
packages after 3 weeks out in the winter.
Now-
Guys, think about this. And this is how criminals think, the deeper thinkers. They might have wanted to put those there, right, a little later, and they were afraid any color gleam would catch someone's eye and maybe make them get noticed. They did not want to be as noticeable walking up to place those there, so they chose black and white. It kind of blends into the background, blends in.
Oh yeah, good point.
You know,
Good point. But it was on the they were on the lawn though.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Previous.
Now, as you can see here, the ice is melting, and that's why there's a wet patch on the landing.
This
of
is
the-
insane, Greg, dude. So let me get this. So there's snow on the ground, which is wet, right? And so at very least there would be some stains from water damage, and there's none.
Right.
It's insane. They were for real, Greg. They were on the front lawn.
Oh yeah, water would have been dripping on them from the
Of
roof.
course
right?
there would have. There would have been water. There's
Yeah.
none.
Well, you can see the water stain on the landing here. The ice is melting.
No,
Right.
right, but not on the paper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not on the
all right.
paper. Right.
All
It
right.
looks
Oh,
like
yeah, brown
well,
bag. Look
for
at the
me.
brown bag. The brown
3
bag.
hours later, we get through
Right.
the 4 minute and 26-second video. But that's how ludicrous it is, folks.
Right.
As far-
I mean, if looking at the first time, this wet patch looks like someone actually pissed on the stairwell, but it's not. It's the ice that's melting.
But these packages that were wrapped in paper were laying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's believe that though. Sure. And
But that foot, what you rub your foot on, that looks like a freaking net, doesn't
and
it?
Sandy Hook was not a false flag either. God.
And my husband said he saw a gun.
Who dat? Who's filming this?
On the floor.
BCA.
Yeah.
You see her in the door. Somebody, the reflection in the door.
Oh,
Filming it. Just curious if you know who that is. See the person in the door
On
filming
the
it?
floor.
Yeah.
you can pull that out.
Analyze the pages from that.
It'd be a husband, wife, and child.
Right.
Analyze. I'll get some people
There we go.
over there.
All right, now
There you
there's another one, Greg, right there. So directly behind them, there's
Yeah.
a couple houses that are pretty close. Representing the
Trees.
kids.
They could hide in the pine trees.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see footprints in there, but like you said, oh, look at that one. Look at that foot. Look at those footprints.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
must have been police.
Some Christmas presents.
Colin, I'm calling 911.
You saw presents inside the home too.
There's presents on the front step, and they've been there since before Christmas.
Now, you said Judy Procknow's husband said he put him back on the front step,
Yes.
but she just said there's presents on the front step. She didn't say they were in the front yard and we put them there.
It's possible they were scattered on the front step and he just stacked them up.
Got it.
So what we're seeing right now is the back of the house. Yes, Greg?
Correct.
Yeah, did you want to look at that again, Bill? You were asking about seeing the back of the house.
Well, no, that's okay. Thanks, but a little late. Maybe another. Well, I'm
We'll get a
wondering
little
what that
closer.
black-
I'm sure in a sec, maybe. But if not, we have other pictures where the door is ajar.
if the police were in on this by any chance, they would have walked over. Well, they would have walked over the old footsteps if there were any. They would have just kept tromping over the
Sure.
path.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm looking for ways in and out.
That's it right there. That's your way in and that's your way out.
Right.
Well, Greg, is that where they missed that bullet hole that we keep talking about in the doorway? Was this the doorway?
No, the bullet hole was next to the front door.
Yeah.
Front
They
door,
missed.
front door. Yeah.
It's gross.
Up.
I just peeked in the front window and it's gross. Colin, what's their address? 1051.
There
There it is.
Oh.
There it is. That's when they left the house or gone in the house from the
Now, Greg, let me ask you a question. This looks way wide. It looks cracked wider than the door. This isn't the door we're talking about. This must have been left open by somebody who went in and out.
This was left the way that it's looking right now is not the way that police when police walk up to this door when they first show up, it is 1/4 inch open. That's it.
Right. That's way wider than what the.
This is way wider, and you can tell by the night sky. This is.
In other words, Jamie, it was cracked open, but not this far.
Yeah,
It
but
was 1/4 inch open.
correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't the I think it was the front door or this door that the latch of the door was ajar?
Yeah, it was this one.
All right.
Yeah, it was this one.
No,
This is important.
the actual
Which a dog, absolutely, especially in dire circumstances after a couple days, would have found a way to open that door.
Yeah, a dog would have opened that, but this is important for another reason. Insects, well, maybe not in the winter, okay, but insects get in even sometimes in the winter, and they would start to go after the body.
You know what? You just triggered something else, because if the dog was in there for that long and leaving feces everywhere, there would have been a ton of maggots and a ton of flies too. Now that's
because
else that we did not see, Greg, in the crime scene photos. Wouldn't there have been maggots and flies everywhere in there?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They have worms a lot naturally anyway, and
It never ends, Greg.
they survive in the winter. The flies, they just kind of thaw out on the warmer days, fly around and then freeze up at night and go wake up the next day. They would have found maybe a day. They would have.
But there would have been maggots everywhere with dead bodies.
It would have stunk to high heaven in that house.
Right,
Yeah.
that too. I'm thinking back to the crime scene photos I seen in the house. Looked pretty damn clean.
I'm trying to remember how long it takes for the bloating to really get.
Oh my
bad.
God!
Oh.
All right, we're more than halfway through, folks.
1051 Ramsdale. That's okay.
Right.
And you said that.
Ray, don't look in there. No.
So here we go. We just saw two different views, two different rooms. Still, I don't see any dog shit or dog pee. Got it.
So it looks like
Don't look in there.
multiple bodies inside.
Yes.
Like a dog would have ate that freaking the dishes and all that out anyway. This is ridiculous.
Would have been able to jump right up on that basket thing, I mean,
And there, let's see.
Yes.
No, that's not what it is. Have you seen any pee or poop yet?
no,
Anywhere?
I'm looking.
3 weeks,
No.
right? Okay.
That's where the bodies were found.
That's insane.
That's where the bodies was found. That's why it's blacked out.
You saw the gun on the.
Look
There's
where all
teeth
the
right
blood banks, blood and all. There's hair. There is hair there. If you go back there a bit, Eric.
Greg, you said you had seen pictures of dog poop or pee. I haven't
Yes,
seen
there is a
any.
lot of there is a lot. Yes,
He's talking to
absolutely.
the neighbor. We have
Where? I don't see any yet. Stop it tell me to stop.
This week, and we still haven't seen in the present for.
I got to rewind. I was talking.
So if you go back just a little bit, you'll see some dog feces on that carpet.
Yeah, but you know what? Is there like
I mean, there
dog
would be
hair?
piles of it everywhere, man.
Yeah, but what about dog hair on the couch? That's what I'm interested
Wait,
in.
where's the poop? I see hair. I don't see.
Yeah, this camera is not giving. There's a little bit right there. It kind of in the upper, right next in the northern part, right before the blur. That little
Okay.
thing is poop. It's really hard to see.
Right.
But in the crime scene photos, remember we have 464 photos from the Apple Valley Police.
Right.
We have 711 photos from the BCA. The BCA photos show a lot more dog feces in certain areas, and
Yeah, just for kicks, I'm gonna Google it.
Okay. Yeah, you can go to my website and you can download them right there. You can view them all right there too.
Doesn't look like it doesn't. Everything looks immaculate. Everything. It looks lived and yet too clean at the same time. But I'm still wondering about dog hair on the couch, because that's like the kind of couch would like gather up here as they slept on it every night.
I'm literally Googling how much feces from a medium-sized dog in 3 weeks.
I should
what we get out of that. Seriously. Let's see what
to answer your question, Bill, it all depends if the dog was shredding hair or fur around the
so the dog would go 2 to 3 times a day. So let's go 2 times 3 weeks, right? So that's twice a day times 7 is 14 times 3 weeks. I mean, over 50 times. Anyway, let's finish.
Yeah, I also do want to bring up something that was brought up in the chat, was that once the dog was taken to the pound and sent to go and live somewhere else, that owner, the owner who took the family dog, did state that there were that days later the dog was pooping out like Barbie parts, like Barbie hair and different pieces. So it was eating something, but again, it's like it's eating toys, it's eating things like that. There's just no proof that it was eating people. Someone who would know, I don't know if anyone would know this. If somebody knows what dog feces would look like if a dog ate humans, that may also help too. Because like I said, this video will not do the crime scene justice. You really have to look at the photos, and even the photos are not too great, but you can clearly see lots of dog feces in certain areas of this house. And so if somebody could look at those dog feces, the photos of the dog feces, and if they knew what it would look like if the dog had eaten a human, that may help. The fact that police didn't test any of that dog feces, the dog feces, is really odd. If you're not going to take the time to test it, why would you just accuse this dog of eating these bodies?
Well,
it's really
Well, Greg, you have to go back to a
human feces can be very harmful and most times deadly to a dog. Strains of bacteria as well as residual traces of drugs and foods that may. Oh, interesting. Okay.
The only way I can sum this up for you, Greg, there was a case here many, many years ago in Australia that dingo ate my baby.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one.
Yeah, but guys, think about this. If the dog was pooping out like Barbie doll heads and legs and arms, that means the dog was eating toys. In other words, how come there weren't any Barbie doll parts in the other dog crap pictures? You know what I mean? Like,
True.
Wouldn't we already see that in the normal poop too?
Well, Cash says this in the chat room. It would resemble what it looked like after that ate pork. Similar body and makeup to human.
Okay. So it would be good to maybe have that person go and look at some of those photos later on, because there are different colors of dog poop. Some are darker, some are lighter, some are very lighter, some are kind of chalkish too. So I just thought, because if they're there for 3 weeks, they should be more chalk color, right?
And that's right, Mary. When a dog changes its diet, it also changes its texture.
Here's another thing: when a dog eats human remains, or obviously when a human becomes deceased, it lets go of his bowels. I'm sure the dog definitely dug into that, because there's actually food in that. So a dog would definitely eat whatever. Anyway, what it says here is that the dog would have increased vomiting too. So what this is saying is that if this is true, the dog would have vomited everywhere too.
Yeah, I don't see any dog vomit anywhere.
No, see, that's great.
That's
the thing too. When a dog vomit, they go back to eat it up. So that's why everyone wants to.
Well, and then vomit again, and then eat up, and then vomit.
Yeah, you'd see it on the rug, though. You'd see those stains.
Absolutely, you would. It's just it's just being a dog owner. Anyone who's a dog owner can attest to what I'm talking about here.
We got Pigeons Returns. G'day, Pigeons, in the chat room. How much weight had the dog lost when found? I can't imagine a distressed dog would have a great appetite.
That's what I was thinking. I forgot to say that.
From what I'm reading here, it'd be dead from eating human remains for 3 weeks. That's what I'm.
So, Greg, how much did the dog actually lose in weight when the dog was found and taken to the vet to checked up?
Well,
I can only speculate on it, but very, very little from what I've heard from sources.
Yeah, because we don't know what he weighed to begin with.
Beforehand. Yeah, we don't know what it weighed beforehand.
But if he was,
we do have photos. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
eating human, if it ate humans, it makes the dog not bark anymore because none of the neighbors heard it. But I digress. Let's finish the sucker up.
Okay.
We hadn't seen any movement over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas, and we came back from Florida this week, and we still hadn't seen, and the presents were still there. So my husband went over there to check.
Okay.
So, Greg, are they just basically shooting all the places that the dog wouldn't have pooped or peed now? Just looking at these.
It's all clean. It's perfect.
Right. This is insane.
We went there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled.
Who's filming this, Greg?
The Minnesota BCA is filming this here, and we just got this recently, and I don't even know what the heck. Why didn't we get this? We've been asking for stuff like this.
So we got Sophia, we got the transcript of this call. So Sophia says in the chat room she's giving her police statement to 911.
Yeah, Nakani or Nasani is. I've had dogs eat all sorts of shit. Me too, and it just goes through them at the other end.
Yeah,
right? The basement's full of poop, so it is possible.
Yeah,
still, I mean, the dog getting that sick, it would just its bowels would release and it would puke. But there's poop in the basement. I got that. So I got to go back and look at the crime scene photos as far as how much poop is in the basement.
Yeah. Well, Eric,
there's a lot in the basement.
Eric Nakani is Cass. She lives in Western Australia, so just call it Cass.
Of course it was. That's where they were feeding the dogs. You know why they're staging this thing. Just speculation.
The number of craps would be, if it was 3 times a day, 7 days a week for 3 weeks, that would be about.
And I think the significant part of this is that as I'm reading this, if it's eating human feces or humans, either or,
right,
it would be throwing up everywhere too.
Yeah, but it would be 63 craps. And
who was that in the jacket?
They haven't shoveled. Excuse me, I think I have to throw up.
Okay, ma'am. I won't keep you any longer, okay, Judy?
Okay,
I appreciate the call. I got help coming, okay?
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Greg, you want to go through this transcript that we've got here?
Sure. If you got it up there, we can go through it if there's anything.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. So.
Holy moly, Greg.
I'm going to go charge my laptop before it dies.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think the dog wrote the Allah on the wall.
Well, and herein lies the biggest issue. With all of this, with his passion, Greg's passion, and Dan's passion, Dan Hennon, and the rest, is that the chances of actually getting the truth, actually having justice for David Crowley, are pretty slim, and that sucks. That's the sucky part. Because So,
Eric and Bill, this is a transcript here, if you can see this on the screen, from Apple Valley Police Department. Unknown male dispatcher. Caller, Judy, I won't mention her last name. And you got Colin.
Now, I'll mention it.
Now, Greg, are you still here? So Colin is the husband of Judy, yes?
Correct. If you guys can hear me, yes.
And who's all right?
Sophia in 1776. I just had the best chat with 911.
And Greg, who is Lorraine? That's the lieutenant? Or who's
That
Lorraine?
is another neighbor. So that was the other neighbor. She tries to walk up to the door so she can see the bodies, and you can clearly hear Judy saying, "Don't do it." So there's two schools of thought. Obviously, she is telling her that because she doesn't want her to see the gruesome thing. Which I would think, well, why don't you just say that? I mean, second guessing, and I don't know. So I don't want to second guess what decision she made. So that's why I really was more focused on the actual transcript, not on the audio. Yeah. It's like the transcript is bad. The audio is worse.
Right.
So
Well,
that's the way I saw it.
Well, here's the transcript. Let's read this. Police, fire. How may I help you? This is Judy, and I live at 155 Ramsdale Drive. Yes. I think there's been a murder or suicide next door. Okay, why would she say that? That to me stuck out.
Go back to the very first thing, because I've listened to many 911 calls. I like to watch crime.
Police and fire. How may I help you?
Who calls and says who the hell they are? What do I care who you are? Tell me what's going on. Hi, this is Judy Park. Who gives a shit who it is? Yeah, I don't know who you are.
Wow.
Greg, I have an idea for you.
Yes.
When you go up, if you go up there around Christmas time, I'll give you an idea a little later.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yep, so, I may know where you're going with it, and I'm sure it's going to be an awesome idea.
So do I. So yes, I think there's been a murder or suicide next door. What's going on? Well, we've noticed that they haven't. Inaudible, they haven't been around. Okay. So there's Christmas presents on the stoop, so I went over there and there's a dog in the house and there's definitely somebody's in the living room. Oh, okay. Stay on the line with me just a minute. Do you know what their address is? Well, I'm 1055 and they would be to the west of me. Okay, so how so? So like 1050 or whatever. So she doesn't know the address?
I mean, it's right there on the front door.
Well, regardless of that, why would they ask if the house is on the right or the left? I've never, I listen to a lot of true crime stuff, and they ask for the address. Why would they ask if the house is on the right or the... anyway. Yeah. It's just,
It's all about her, pretty much.
It's all speculation, my friend. Speculation.
So I'm facing it. So if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy, would it be the house to the right or left? If you're facing my house, it will be to your right. To the right, what are you seeing there? It looks like there's been a pile of bodies, and one looked like the head is eaten off.
Whoa. Eaten off. Not chopped off. Yeah. Not missing. Eaten off.
Not blown off by
not blown off. Anything you could say. Eaten off. Got it.
The dog did it.
Right, of course.
Oh no, Judy. I suppose.
Wait a minute. Dog's not going to eat the head off. It's going to eat everything but the. Oh my God! There is a skull on the. Anyway,
2 heads, by the way. 2 heads.
Oh no. I suppose by the dog, and my husband thought they were dummies, but the hands look real, inaudible, and they look. Oh, and they would have been there since before Christmas. Okay, so what haven't you seen? And all the Christmas lights are still on in the house. And there's my husband.
What haven't you seen? What does that even mean?
I'm just reading it the way it's been
What's
written.
that? What haven't you seen?
Yeah, it could be a typo or something.
Okay, so
you haven't seen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you haven't seen. And all their Christmas lights are still on in the house, and there's my husband. He saw a gun on the floor. Yeah. Okay, stay on the line with me just a minute, please. It would be a husband, wife, and child. Stay on the line with me, Judy. I'll get some people rolling over there. You saw Christmas presents? I'm calling 911. But she wasn't calling the 911.
Why was her seeing Christmas presents even relevant to the conversation at this point?
Why is anything of this?
Right. This is ludicrous. You saw Christmas presents. What? Okay. There's a head eaten off. Let's talk about you saw Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm calling 911.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I'm back, guys.
You saw wait again. You saw presents inside the home. Come on, man.
I think that's sort of like telling.
How is that relevant?
Well, no, it's relevant because if they've been out there for a long time, you would expect.
But inside the home, lots of people keep Christmas presents under their tree through the New Year.
Inside. Oh,
Right.
yeah, right.
You see, that's the next thing they say.
Yeah. Oh well, if they didn't open them, though.
What's the relevance of that?
How much? What was the date again? What was the
3
date?
weeks later, man? There could be Christmas presents still. Why is that even relevant?
3 weeks later, yeah.
Nah,
So here we go.
These bodies were found on January 17th, 2015.
right. Lots of people
So-
have Christmas presents still underneath the tree or laying around after that. I mean, whatever. There's
Hold on,
presents on that front. Here we go with the presents again. Like they're totally
Hold on. So Colin, I'm calling 911. So Colin is her husband. You saw presents inside the home too. This is a caller that took the 911 call. Judy, there's presents on the front step, and they've been there since before Christmas. And there's a definite. I just peeked in the front window, and it's gross. Colin, what is their address?
So the fact there've been presents out there outside for 3 weeks could be relevant. The fact there's presents inside has no relevance.
Colin, 1051 Judy 1051 Ranswell Drive. Okay, 1. Don't look in the window, Laurie.
Huh?
1051 Ramsell. Is that okay, right? And you say, Laurie, don't look in there. So Laurie is the other neighbor. By the looks of it. No.
What's going on here with the Laurie? Who's Laurie?
She's
Laurie
the neighbor.
She's the other neighbor.
And she's talking to the neighbor saying, don't look in there while she's on the phone?
Correct.
How? Right. So she had a cordless phone? She was outside or something, or was on a cell?
Well, Judy had a husband there and her other neighbor, Laurie, there.
Yeah, but I'm saying, she's making and it looks like that she's telling her not to, like they're right there in front of the house. So they're making the call in front of the house.
Judy's probably my guess is Judy's probably in front of her house and kind of looking over and calling.
But how would she be able to, I want to listen
from the driveway. I
want to listen to that recording again because she would have to, if she's in her driveway and somebody's actually looking in the window, she would have to say, hey, she'd have to do a little, I want to hear that. I'm going to look. I can't wait to listen to this.
Well, Greg, that tells me that Judy could have been at the footpath at the front of the house while her neighbor Laurie was trying to look at something around the house.
That's
the only way when we listen to the call, if it wasn't kind of a shout like, "Hey, don't look in there," if it's like right next to them, is one of two things. If she was in her driveway, then there's no way that happened. Or two, she's standing in front of the house.
I guess whatever it is, she's not close enough to see that. It's
right.
On the front door it says 1051 Ramsdale Drive.
Right.
I'm kind of wondering what she meant by a pile too. Like, I mean, everybody's on top of each other, or
so it looks like multiple bodies inside. Yes.
Yeah.
Dog may have been.
Yeah. Let me read this.
They've been what?
So don't look inside. Don't look in there. So it looked like multiple bodies inside. Yes. And it looked like the dog may have been, yes. May had eaten the head. Remember we go back here? Remember when we go back here, where was it?
It's like one of the first lines.
And one of the head is eaten off. Remember,
right.
That's what Judy
said.
How the hell would you know what a head looks like when it's eaten off?
Right.
What
the hell?
Oh my God.
Okay, so you saw the gun on the floor there. Yes. Remember, look at the hesitation of the answer. Yes, my husband saw it.
See, she doesn't say she says she saw it, but and even in a statement earlier, she says that her husband saw it. So it's like it was never really clear if she saw it. We know her husband saw it.
Well, now she did. Good. So now she's saying my husband saw it. He's not right here right now.
She saw it though.
Oh, hold on.
Okay,
hold on. Her husband, Colin, is hearing the freaking statement.
Well, her husband could have told her that right over.
Her husband, Colin's here giving the address to her.
He's over having a beer with Boomhauer, the neighbor, right now.
Hold on.
I couldn't help it.
So her husband's giving the address of David Crowley right here, right? Now she's saying, where is it?
Right there.
Now she's saying that her husband not right here, right now.
Yep. We already covered that. He's talking to Puma.
My husband saw it. He's not right here right now. He's talking to the other neighbor. We haven't seen any movement over here, over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas. We'll be back from Florida this week. And they still hadn't inaudible. And the presents were still there. So my husband went over there to check. Okay. They thought they were gone for Christmas. Haven't seen any movement. So there hasn't been anything. Movement there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled. Well,
so nothing in here indicates that Judy even went and looked.
She does say she went and looked in the front in the window.
Well, he's
No, I'm saying it after that part, Greg. The rest of it makes it sound like her husband was the one who saw everything.
Here it is.
Her husband did see it. Yeah.
Here it is. Here's the other one. Dispatch. It's 911 police fire. How can I help you? Yeah, my name is Colin. I live at 1055 Ranswell Drive in Apple Valley, and my next door neighbour, they haven't been home since Christmas or before Christmas. Okay, and there's Christmas presents on the front step, and there's a dog in their house, and nobody answers. Okay, what's the address again? Your phone kind of broke out.
What is this? A second phone call? What is this?
Yeah, this is the husband calling the police department.
Gotcha.
Okay, what's the address again? Your phone's kind of broke out. Oh, my address is 1055 Ranswell, Ramsdell Drive in Apple Valley. Okay, do you know what the house number is? Yes, it's 1051. Would I like somebody to come over and what to do a welfare or well check or something
that sounds more like a normal conversation, not so exactly. There's presents inside. Okay, go ahead. The welfare check is immediately what they talk about.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, and you said 1051 for them? 1051. Okay. Let's go through. And I looked through the front window. There's 3 dummies on the floor. I don't think they're any bodies, but it looks like there's a gun next to one, a handgun. So he obviously said there's 3 dummies on the floor. He doesn't think there's any bodies on the floor. Okay. And what's your name? Okay. And what's your name again, sir? First name is Colin, Collin. Last name, Prochnow, P as in Paul, Rochnow. And the phone number for you, Mr. Puncho, and the cell phone is, yep, okay.
Dude, go back to the first fucking thing, man. And I look through the front window and there's like 3 dummies on the floor. I don't think they're bodies, but it looks like there's a gun what?
Now, if you compare that to what Judy said when she looked through that window, she had already knew that it was a murder and a suicide.
Right.
And the dog the bodies.
Real.
So let's say Judy.
Real.
Yeah, this is what Judy said. I think there's been a murder or a suicide next door. That's what Judy said, and this is what her husband said. Right? Her husband said, my next door neighbor, I don't think.
No, keep going down. You almost do this.
Yeah. Go down.
Keep going.
Through the window. 3 dummies on the floor.
You were all right in just 1 second.
Right. And we were out of town for the first week in January, and when we left, the presents were in our front step. And I told my wife, I didn't notice them the other day because I didn't look. But I said, I'm going to run over and see if those presents are still there, and they are. And he doesn't answer his cell phone because the neighbor next to him on the other side has his cell number. Okay, did you already call? What? No. Yeah, we tried calling the cell number, nobody answered. No, I mean, did you already call us? Your wife already called us. Judy just called us. Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
That's it?
What? Oh, wow. Yeah.
Not you didn't know. Okay, got it.
I'm thinking Judy. I mean, like Judy started to sound kind of legitimate a little bit through the call after the beginning, and then I was like, okay, maybe she's not guilty. Now her husband sounds guilty, and now like their contradictory story in a way, like they did it.
After all the evidence that's already been out there for so many years, I just hard to handle the stupidity of people anymore. That would the attacks that have happened to Greg. Greg's always been a class dude. He's been respectful when he's contacting these people. The police even tell you this themselves. The Apple Valley police that he contacted, he's been respectful. He's just asking questions, relevant questions, and the way he's been attacked and characterized as a horrible human being for even questioning this happened, much like Handy Sook. People who question that, same thing.
You can say Sandy Hook here on Twitch, Eric. I'm just letting you know. You can say Sandy Hook here.
Yeah, I know. I'm trained to just say Handy.
Now, Greg, have you spoken to Judy at all?
Just following rules.
Yes. Yeah, we did a 3-hour debate, the debate itself lasted about 30 seconds because she couldn't prove David Crowley guilty. So we ended up having a 3-hour talk, and I just was asking her questions, and she answered those questions. And so we did a 3-hour talk, I think back in 2016, I believe.
And what about her husband, Colin?
He walked in while we were doing the call, but he didn't want to talk, so he didn't want to say anything.
And the other neighbor, Lori?
Yeah, I have not talked with her yet. I have not.
Or any of the neighbors, looking at those photos, you can see how close in proximity a lot of the houses were.
Yeah, I have talked with. There are neighbors I've talked to. I just don't want to. Don't want to divulge that all yet.
Gotcha, brother. And we'll be right here when you want to.
You're right. Yeah, I know you will.
Yeah. Judikins. Yeah.
Here's something to think of also. If whoever killed who or opened up blood anywhere, dogs and cats would at least once got a lick of blood, once the taste of blood or the smell of blood, they would probably lick it.
Good point. Rodents from the outside with that cracked door would have found a way in. I mean, that's just. There's so many anomalies in this, and we're not trying to sit here. I know Greg for sure is not trying to sit here and bring up some obscure anomalies. There's no evidence that this went down the way they said it did.
But that hair. I'm wondering if that hair came from like the dog chewing off the scalp. Maybe the face and all that. I mean, what do they mean by the head got chewed? I mean, is it off? Is it off the body?
She knows what a chewed head looks like. Zadokian 782 in the chat. Wife already called, but no timestamp.
Yeah. So, Eric, we're going to go through some documents that we'll talk about earlier. The police documents that Greg was saying earlier. What were those documents, Greg, that we're going to go through? Down at the bottom.
I mean, there's tons of documents we can go through. I don't know which ones you want to go. Whatever ones you want to go through, we can definitely.
How long did it take for the cops to show up? That's kind of
here we go. Here we go. Sophia said this in the chat room. Judy called around 12:55 p.m. on that day.
Yeah, and the cops showed up maybe about 5 minutes later, I believe, but very, very quickly.
And then 5 minutes later, it was pronounced a murder-suicide. And the story corner. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that quick. You get my drift.
Yeah.
1 minute later.
Definitely within 24 hours. Giving them the benefit of the doubt within 24 hours, they released a public statement that said that this was a double murder suicide and the public was not in any danger.
All right, think about this. Think about this, guys. Now, the door was open in the back, a crack, right? Now, who would do that? Somebody that would be afraid, that would want to walk in and out on a regular basis to check up on the dog, and they would just walk around the back, open up the door, slide in every day.
That's been theorized that somebody accidentally left that open.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
there were no bodies there, and that this was all staged, and the dog wasn't there for that long at all.
Right, but if the dog was there and they were feeding the dog by occasional snack here and there, checking on him, maybe they just kept going in and out.
Well, Greg, wasn't there speculation that David's brother was going around the house to check on the house on the outside?
Well, David's brother is the one who left those presents there. Yeah. So David's brother left the presents there. In the news reports, he said he wasn't sure about what day that he left them there. He gave two separate dates of what day that it could have been. But in the police reports, it's very clear that he told the police that he left them there on December 28th of 2014. So those presents should have been there from December 28th, December 14th, December 28th, 2014, all the way until the bodies were found on January 17th, 2015.
They put some special anti-wet stuff on there, though, so the paper didn't get wet.
It looks a little warped, but I I don't know. I mean,
but if it was dry, cold,
you would test yourself, folks. Grab some packages and put them out on your freaking stoop.
That would be great.
See what happens.
You know, I could see them surviving if it just stayed dry and cold. But here's the thing about the presents inside, though. It could be important. See, the thing is, if they were unopened, that means they were never opened on Christmas. So, you know, they were in there the whole time. Like, if they were opened, that's one thing.
Claim.
Yeah, but they're unopened, and that does make a difference. That means nobody celebrated Christmas.
Right.
Or they set it up late, or extra early. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that they had already packed up. They had already put everything. Because if you look at some of the things in the crime scene photos, it looks like they were already packing up. The Christmas stockings are on the kitchen table, so it kind of looks like they were putting things out. They were putting, about to start packing things up.
No food though. No food out. Any like prepared meals or?
There were like eggshells out on the kitchen table. There was oil in one of the pans. I think Judy Prochnow was the only one who said that there was pizza in there. There was like a pizza that was there somewhere. I don't know how the hell she would know that, but
whoa. Pizza in there.
In the oven, pizza in the oven or something. So if you look at that,
toilet couldn't have learned to open the oven anyway.
Maybe. I mean, if you look at that crime scene, to me, it looks like they were. It looks like a scene that was
staged.
I don't know if they were ambushed. It looks like they were just kind of cooking. They were doing their thing. There's butter out on the kitchen. People aren't just going to leave butter out like that. It looks like they were in the process of cooking or something. Somebody snuck in.
There was butter out.
Something happened.
The dog didn't touch the butter?
No, but there were dog bone treats on the kitchen table too. So not only were there those 2 bags, but there were there was a box of dog bone treats on the kitchen table.
Wait, what?
His favorite too.
I thought they got up and back. There were dog treats.
There were dog treats within visible sight.
Come on, man.
Oh, nice, the chewy ones too, right?
What?
Yeah, they were probably.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, they were probably his favorite, and they were like the chewy, moist ones you could smell across the room. Had a good aroma, and yeah.
I don't have those photos, man. I didn't see those, Greg. So you have.
Have you got those photos?
What about this?
Greg, have you got those photos?
Yes. Yeah, we have those photos.
Can you pass them right now? Can you pass them right now? We'll put them up.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Hey, but what about this? We're forgetting about like how the kids' rooms were, where the kids leaving things out. Was the homework out? I mean, wouldn't be homework.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax there too.
Greg, just put them in the private chat here and
the kid was only 5, so he really didn't have homework.
Oh yeah.
So these are the treats. So Cash says this very strange stage job by who did this for sure.
No, bad stage job, yeah.
Much like
Zadikin says this in the chat room. At least the operator ID number would have at least been more legit, but an unknown operator looked real sloppy.
Right. Immediately they talk about welfare checks. No, you don't talk about the Christmas gifts. I mean, you talk. The operator's like, "Hey, I think there's a head shoot off," and the operator's like, "So are there gifts outside still? Are the gifts still inside?" I mean, come on, man.
Hey, we lost Mary Holt though. We had Mary Holt.
Yeah, Mary Holt. Yeah.
And glad Greg's still around. He's in there. But there was somebody else too.
And we're gonna get a picture of the Greg's like going through his freaking thousands.
Yeah, he's gonna drop it in the private chat.
That's all right, man. I want to see this. I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, I'll try to drop that link here. I'm trying to remember if it was in the 464 photos or if it was one of the later. I know it's one of the kitchen photos though.
Like I like using Occam's razor, man. To the simplest thing usually tells the story, and the fact that there's a dog in there eating its owners and not the dog biscuits.
Yeah.
Oh, and the pizza.
Explain that one to me.
And the pizza in the microwave.
Well, yeah, but I mean that could be possible. The dog's not going to probably open the microwave, but
yeah, just put the claw up. hit the pull up.
There's dog biscuits laying there. I mean, that's in a bag of food.
Yeah, well, 2 bags of food, wasn't it?
All right, what about like?
Because
right,
you know, with any of these false flags, you can go into a million different theories and hyperbole about them. Much like Handy Sook, I did it again because you do that. But I mean, there's certain things that are unexplainable and make no sense.
Well, we can do a show here on Sandy Hook. Well,
Sure. I'm just saying that you go to like when I remember interviewing Wolfgang Halbig, which apparently he's gone insane now because nobody will freaking give him the time of day.
Mary's here, guys. Mary's here.
Anyway, he's like, you know what, we can talk about that David Wheeler was dressed up like a freaking army dude and stuff like that. But he comes down to the basic things. And here's the one thing, and I'll leave it at this, then we'll go back to Crowley, though. The one thing that you can use that nobody can refute, and there are freaking ad nauseum shots, overhead shots of the parking lot of Sandy Hook. There was not one handicapped parking space at a school, and you have to have handicapped parking spaces. The signs have to be 4 feet tall, and you have to have the blue light. There weren't any.
And no flag.
That's the one thing you can't refute. Where was it there? You know what I mean? That's where you go, man, with that stuff. That's what Wolfgang was going for, but
yeah.
Poor guy.
And also, I like to do a show on Port Arthur. I haven't done a show on Port Arthur yet, but I know a lot about Port Arthur, the massacre that happened in '96 here in Australia. There's a lot of red flags over Port Arthur massacre because in 2002
they got the guns, man. I mean there's your biggest red flag.
Let's take it one step further. In 2002, Monarch University was another mass shooting. No one talking about
Monarch. Universe can't make this shit up, folks. Monarch.
All right, so
Monarch Butterfly God.
So Greg just gave me these photos here. So
there may be a better one, but I figured for the sake of time, I think that one that pretty much shows it there. I think once everybody sees the box, they'll pretty much know. Anyone who has a dog has seen it.
So
and Crypt Rick was the other one, and he's now back, or they are now back. Hello, Crypt.
So I'm just
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and it's fucking open. Wow.
There's a box right
My
there.
dog's behind me right now and is trying to get at the screen. That's how ridiculous this is.
So we're looking at the red box here, Greg, the dog crate box here.
Yes, and to the left on the floor is where those 2 bags of dog food would be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's all kind of in the same area.
That
obviously, that's a little harder for a dog to get to, but
it kind of looks like a
little.
What's that blue on the white? That's like a raspberry tree bag or something.
Yeah, a bag of chips.
It looks like blueberries, like dried blueberries or something.
No, behind the blueberries.
This one here, they look like
bag of chips.
Banana chips.
What the hell kind of chips are those? Anyway?
Yeah, well, that could be
What are those? What is that?
Well, you got a drink there, and you got a box.
I'm just saying, if you're a dog and you're starving, man, you know where the chips are.
Yeah, you take a dive at it.
You got some sauce here.
You got 2 bottles there.
Exactly, take a dive at it. This is insane.
Okay.
But this is not even as important as the fact that there's dog food. Bags of dog food within the dog's reach.
Well, you know what? I notice all the bottles of water too. Now, you when you do a crime scene, you try to figure out every single little trick and like how much did they use water? They haven't used water in so long, and they're full or they're empty. And I saw full ones there either way.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, Greg, it might be an illusion, or my eyes are playing.
My bad. Real quick, veggie straws. The Vivid Monkey. That's what they have. The veggie straws. Again, the dog's on top of that counter eating those things.
Now, Greg, it's either this.
Nothing's knocked over anywhere, Zaccone. Yeah. I'm saying, I know.
Now, Greg, this is either an illusion or my eyes are playing up. But on the black binder here, or the folder, I call it the folder in America. You might call it a binder. Is that blood? Is that blood on the top of the folder here?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The dog. I really love focusing on the dog, though, and I see the chat is too.
Yeah.
Sandy McKinney. A dog alone 3 weeks and hungry would have destroyed the treats and the chips. Absolutely. It would have eaten the chips and the bags.
All right. Would have been howling at the
whatever residues on the bag. This is ridiculous.
I'm looking at this section here, Greg. That looks like a blood. That looks like a blood splatter to me.
If it's not blood, it could be liquid or oil, and that's a clue, right?
And there's one there. There's one there.
And the biggest clue is the dog didn't eat any of the treats, bags of food.
That one there.
Well, we'll have to take a closer look at that. I haven't noticed that before.
Yeah, because you have to figure
out. The baby loves veggie straws. We just tried all of them.
Let's go down a little bit further, Greg. I don't know. There's a little bit of fake red. On the,
that could be a stain, though, man.
No, that looks like blood to me right here. This section right here.
I mean, to the right of it, it looks like it could be mustard. That's.
Well, yeah, well, that looks like mustard, but this section right here.
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing, the stuff on the binder, see, what's important to note is what it is, because we need to know how long it's been sitting there without being dry, or is it dry? Is it still wet? Or
good point.
You know?
Have a look at this. This makes it a
one of the officers that were on the scene could have sneezed on it.
Well, yeah. COVID sneezed. Yeah. Early COVID.
Look at these spots. Look at these spots here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right down to the bottom here.
Some oils would deteriorate that. Would kind of eat into that a little bit.
I'm just making sure it's not my bloody computer that's got. No. That's actually spots here. 1, 2, 3. This one here, and that one there. Oh well.
It could have came out of that bowl. It probably didn't. But if that bowl was the one with the eggs in it and they stirred and maybe dripped a little, it's probably not that. Maybe they attempted to make that happen, and it certainly was.
Does anyone know what was on this letter or whatever, Greg?
I think we zoomed in on it, but I don't remember. I know there's other crime scene photos where they actually open up that binder, and there's some interesting stuff, I think, inside of that binder. Now, this binder, one of the recent things that we got was David Crowley's Day 1 journal, which is I think it's 80 pages. It's you could do a whole show just on David Crowley's journal. It covers his last months, basically. And I
think we did one, Greg, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just got David Crowley's Day 1 journal within in August, I think.
So it was some other journal entry.
It was probably a different one, yeah. But I mean, we may have talked about it, and we may have talked about what we knew about the journal. But now that we actually have it, there's some strange things in that journal. They say that the journal ended in September. When we got the journal, it clearly ended in November. So it's well, okay, how is that possible?
And then forensic analysis. None of these people thought it was weird that the dog didn't eat any of the food or the treat.
Right. I mean, no. There's so much of that right there. And that's a big point about the dog.
Here's another clue, though. Oh, go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
Now, I want to say welcome, Vivid Monkey. Welcome to the show. If you haven't followed, hit the follow. But Vivid Monkey said, I don't think the dog would have destroyed anything. My dog would probably starve. She's a pit bull and doesn't go after her food, treats, or cookies.
She's a pit bull?
Some would, right. Some would starve, but they're like that. Some eat their owner, some wouldn't, It
was a pit bull, beagle mix. I think it was a mix, wasn't it, Greg?
Yeah, it was a beagle mix, a medium size.
I mean, any dog could have been a Chihuahua. Freaking is going to go try to get those chips. But
here's a clue, though. All right, sometimes things seem insignificant, but to grab timelines and to figure out things. See, the food that was up there, other than the dog bone thing, the dog bone box was open, but everything else, in other words, behind that green bowl was 2 unopened bottles of things to drink, and the box they pulled out was an unopened box. Now, it looked to me like they were new. Like they were never opened even once. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine, Bill? I mean, he has Greg had literally probably thousands of crime scene photos, and we're taking this much time on just this little. You know,
God, oh man,
it is. It's freaking. It's.
There's so much. There's so much. Yeah,
it makes you
Boy, I
sick
had to write
sometimes, just because you know these people were freaking murdered.
yeah.
And it sucks. And they're about to make. I mean, David Crowley is about to make again a film that just would have blown off everything.
Bill, you're talking about this green bowl here.
Yeah, behind it is food that's not open. Nothing is open there. It's all brand new.
You got some air freshener. Looks like some box of some kind of cooking, and then you got like a A1 sauce or something.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or a wine cooler or something. I don't know.
That look like barbecue or cat.
Nothing about this looks staged whatsoever.
Yeah,
and you got some bread. You got some breadsticks here.
Yeah, that's veggie. Those veggie.
Yeah. So, and a pair of scissors of all things.
like a clean bowl, just a completely clean bowl sitting there.
Now this was in the kitchen, yeah, Greg. This is in the kitchen.
Yeah. So that's in the kitchen. I'm going to send you this other one here too.
Yeah, please do. I know. Eric's got a lot of photos too.
I'm bringing one of my dogs over here, Veda. She's going to take a look and tell me what she thinks.
Okay,
all right,
cool. Solve the case.
All right. I'm going to put it on solo screen so we can see Eric's dog. Come on, girl. Jump up, man. Jump up.
Maybe we're about to see his dog eat his head off. Now
we'll
solve the mystery. Will show us how it's done. Show us how it's done.
Just playing on the ground. Playing on the ground.
All right, we're getting crazy here, but
The dingo ate my baby. The dingo.
Veda said that within a day she would have eaten the veggie straws and put on the ground before she'd eat my head.
Eric, Vivid Monkey say, see if she goes for biscuits. Throw a dog treat out to it, see if she goes for it.
Dude. Yeah, this is again, I understand your passion for this, Greg. I mean, it is ludicrous, and we have.
It's a clear slam dunk case. I mean, we've talked about this too, Eric. Where is the alternative media? Why is the alternative media not covering this? For someone like Alex Jones, man, this would be a slam dunk case.
And I know initially he talked about it maybe one or two times, but then
twice.
And didn't David Crowley try to go to him for funding?
Yeah.
Well, David was on his show at least twice. There was a guy, if you guys know the guy Joe Biggs, who was working for Jones at that time. He started looking into this, and then all of a sudden he becomes friends with Danny August Mason. Right after this,
I remember.
And it was weird. And then he gets fired. Like Alex Jones fires him. He has this whole drunken thing where he's like drunken with this. He gets choked out by the security guard.
Yeah, Joey Biggs.
Yeah. And then the whole Trump thing, the January 6th thing, he's there and now he's being charged with all this stuff. It's like, is this guy a government informant? I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
I remember going through that with him. I remember getting into it with him during the pizza and chili days, but we're not
probably blocked you.
Well, one is certainly a shield. Yeah, they're probably
down at Bunkerville. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
Anywho, digressing.
So what are we looking at here, Greg, for those people that don't know?
Yeah, Veda's disgusted right now, too.
Okay, so he's disgusted.
She is. She would eat those.
She's disgusted.
Here we go.
Yeah, so this is kind of that other angle. So if you're looking at this image to the right would be where the dog biscuits are. So this kind of gives you an image of that kitchen. I just kind of sent you a few other images of the kitchen, what the kitchen looked like when the police were there. You can see there's coffee. You can see that there's something in there. There's it looks like they were in the middle of something. Somebody came in and did something very bad to this family.
Now, there's nothing
looks
on
like
the
it.
stove though. Is that a pan on the stove or no?
Yes, there are two pans on the stove. That's in one of the other photos that I sent you, Jamie, too.
Frying pan. But, Greg, this is what got my eye. Can you see the different color on the tea towel? One is light red, but look at the dark red patches on it. There's three of them there.
Yeah, great point.
I'm saying blood. I'm just saying for what I'm
Oh,
saying.
now there you have a good point. I'm looking at that, but
It could be grease, right? It could be grease.
Could be, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, if they had that much grease, there would have been grease all over the place.
I'm sure they didn't collect it for evidence and sample it.
There's grease in those pans. So there is another image that shows the actual pans, and there still is grease in the pans. To the left of where those pans are, over to the on the other, right over there.
I would have never smelled that and jumped up and tried to lick that.
Yeah,
there's
There's
butter there.
Go again with the dog.
There's like eggshells there. Yeah, right around that area.
Were you able to obtain a list of the evidence they collected? As far
Yes. Yes. So I do have that on my website too. And it does show that they have like everything that they collected. It's the property and evidence report. So they do have that. Yeah.
All right, here's the other
and it's pretty thorough.
Again, more food on the counter. Oh, well, no, that's the other view. But right here, chicken stock, that wasn't in the last view.
That looks like old coffee.
All that crap.
Yeah, so that may be... I think in that purple thing is coffee grounds, and I think they were going to use that for fertilizer or something like that. You know how you do that. I used to work at a coffee shop. Somebody would always come by and they would take our old coffee grounds. Like, what the hell are they going to do with the coffee grounds? So they put them in a plant, and I guess it grows.
Yeah, it's good for certain points.
And who will leave a fork that close to the counter edge?
It's pretty close right there. Now that window too is also open. Not only was there the rear slider that was open, in the police notes, hidden in some of the notes, is that the kitchen window was actually also unlocked too. So when police are saying there was no signs of anybody forcing their way in, here we have two proofs, two evidence that show they didn't need to force their way in. They had a open door, a rear slider that was open, and they had one of these kitchen windows that was open. That somebody could have gotten in without having to force their way into it. So why are they going to such lengths to say that there was no signs of quote unquote anybody forcing their way in? Nobody would need to force their way in.
Right.
Okay. Now, I'm not
on the other side with the dogs too. I mean, playing devil's advocate. I mean, there is lots of documented scientific evidence that the dogs, when their owners die, will out of distress and other reasons actually eat their owners. I mean, we're not saying that could not have happened, but that's all. I mean, you gotta freaking look at both sides at the same time. If it has food readily available to eat, okay, whether it's eating its owners or not, it's going to eat that food too. I mean, if you have dogs, if you leave an entire bag of dog food out, they'll eat until they throw up, then eat the throw up, then eat again. They're going to eat everything. Within sight, eatable. It is edible, my point.
Now, Greg, I'm sorry for putting everything under a microscope here, but look at the window stain. Now, I know it's been snowing and that, but I want to know if these stains on the inside or outside. But for me, it looks like someone threw eggs on the window here. It looks like an
Interesting.
egg right?
Yeah, I didn't notice that before either. I don't know. That's a pretty good point.
Well, it could be evidence of sliding too, like if it slid up and down.
Oh, if it's sliding open and shut. Interesting.
It could be lighting,
that's a good point, man.
That is a great point.
These look like three parallel lines. Look like someone's egging the freaking window. That's what they do when you egg someone's house.
No, that's interesting. I never noticed that before.
But wouldn't it be in plain hindsight that could also be blood?
I don't know. I mean, it looks more like snow. I just thought, it's just got to be snow. But
it does look like snow, but for me,
know.
it looked like someone throwing eggs at the window. It looked like eggs.
It could be. Yeah, I never thought of that. I'll have to really
none of those
take a deeper dive in that, guys. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So here's some other photos here. See, not the lighting, Bill, because this is a different angle of that same window.
I'm wondering about the grease splatter more though, because grease splatters all over the place, like to the refrigerator on its right, above it, around it. It should have been.
Now, was this the microwave that had the pizza in it?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, now I'm looking this craziness up right now because I had an idea that the dogs will eat their owners, but now I'm looking. Your pets will eat you when you die, and here's the thing: maybe that's why the little dog there is part of the whole freaking setup. But they tend to go for the neck and the face first.
Yeah, but also the other thing is, I was wondering what kind of clothes the people were wearing, because if they were wearing leather, sometimes animals would go chew on the leather, at least chew it. And
well, they would have chewed on lots of things in the house. And again,
as you can see, Bill, we were talking about look at the grease on top of the stove. Yeah.
But like, I'm wondering about if it's on the refrigerator to the right and everything. And
yeah.
You know?
I'm going through the photos here. I've got 711 photos here. I just received them all now. So
there's no drawers open. There's no.
Look at this.
Oh. Yeah, it's slightly messy. It's a little like, I guess it wouldn't have to be. A lot of people, sometimes I clean as I go. You can't really tell, but
sweatpants and sweatshirts on from the Vivid Monkey. That's what they had on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's the other one. That's the other pan. So we're going through. So okay. Go back a sec there.
Yeah, there's like nothing in it at all, though.
But I'm saying, so you're telling me there's still liquid after 3 weeks? It's not dried up and oh my god.
Well, maybe. But I'm wondering.
The dog peed in the pan.
You know what? If they finished their food, they'd be trash from the food, but they didn't even start it. So they started that and ate it. Maybe gave the rest to the dog that was in the. They pulled out of it. But the other stuff they didn't even open up. So why would they make that and then leave it behind and then like not have the whole meal together? You know, like.
But 3 weeks after, like the bodies weren't found for 3 weeks.
That's after. That's the 19,999th question about the anomalies in this freaking house, and this is just for 3.
In 3 weeks, all of this would have dried up and be hard as a rock. It wouldn't be a liquid.
It would be white. It would be like white or something. It would be dark or white. You know, it wouldn't be like.
I'm excited to hear eventually, when Greg's ready to release it, some of the conversations he had with some of the neighbors.
Now,
also, I don't know.
Talking to him.
Did you guys look at the coffee pot? Because one of the other things that we looked at was, okay, if the coffee, how long does that coffee look like it was there?
This one here, Greg?
In that sludge?
Yeah, and there's a better photo of that coffee pot somewhere.
Here we go.
Good question.
You know, like I know when I leave coffee there, it starts molding. It doesn't last that long, and you can see there's maybe about 2 cups left of that coffee there. So I had always wondered, because obviously we were trying to find what is a real timeline, and like
you gotta look at the rings. It leaves the rings as it dehydrates. It leaves rings. I used to notice that all the time. Not all the time, but I have. You know.
Oh, it's Folgers.
Greg, was this the microwave that the pizza was in?
I don't remember if Judy said it was the microwave or the stove that was underneath where those pans are. But I just remember she mentioned that, and I thought it was kind of weird. Like, how would she know that, or why would she say that?
We'll say like we'll just.
I'm waiting for a knock on the door. You know, Mr. Wilson, where you've been Googling how long before maggots grow on dead bodies, and how long before a dog will eat a dead body. And I think we might have to have a talk, sir.
Where do you guys?
I want that out there just in case.
Where do you guys leave a pan handle? You know, when you leave a pan like that on the stove, it's done. You don't want to touch it a while. You push it back, or you leave it there. But you want the handle moved out of the way. Where do you guys leave the handle?
The other way. I leave it towards the entrance of the stove, like the other way, not the back, not towards the back of the stove, towards you, basically.
Right.
Or because I'm left-handed, I'll put the handle towards at 9 o'clock. You know what I mean?
So a left-handed murderer, or a left-handed person, maybe that would indicate who is the last one to use that hand.
So after a week, maggots start to the eggs are laid within 24 to 72 hours, but after a week, maggots start to appear, and this is actually used normally by coroners to use an estimate for the time of death. So I'm curious, Greg, if you have any information about that, as far as
and the kiwis. Yeah, kiwis are another.
You have some coroner's reports, I assume.
So, Greg, are these mushrooms or onions?
Those are kiwis. So that was another thing. We're like, okay, well, the kiwis look like somebody had just washed them all. That's why there's a towel underneath them, and then it also looks like like that's one of the things. Like kiwis left out for 3 weeks. It's hard, especially with these photos. It's hard to really see because all that I see with kiwis that are left out for 3 weeks is they just
kiwis left out. Well, I'm from Australia, and I eat kiwis. Right? You leave it out like that for 3 weeks, you'll start seeing bruises on them. Okay, all right. I mean, those are some of the things that we're kind of wondering, and we're like, well, maybe they were GMO, but this seems like a very health conscious family. So obviously, if you leave some GMO food out, it's gonna sit there. Yeah. You're probably not gonna notice it for weeks. This is a bin, yeah. This is a bin type of thing, or that's a garbage can. So that's a garbage can. And that's where that's where one of the newspapers that was dated December 26th was found right there. So yeah, and that's the only evidence of any Christmas. There's like a Christmas ball there that you can see. There's actually a letter from Kamel's daughter to Kamel, and that's what that thing is that you have highlighted right there. Yeah. So that also made me think that all of this happened after Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, but the dog, that was open a little bit. Dogs always dig in the trash. And here's the problem with that is because in some photos the police open it and they do what they did. They pull it out and they take photos. And then in other photos, so it's hard to tell which photos are how the police found everything or how they moved everything out so that they could take a photo of what's inside. Right. Yeah. That's why we wanted all photos. Go ahead. Now here's the valid point. Look at the date at the paper, December 26, 2014. Now, when did they die? Was it the year after? Or was it 2014? Okay. Yeah. So this brings up a great point. This is a point that I did bring up in my book. Now these are weekly newspapers. This is dated December 26. This was so the question is, what day was this delivered to David Crowley's house? Okay, here is the problem. You have the coordinator for this paper saying one date. You have the paper delivery boy saying a second date, and you have the paper delivery boy's mom saying a different date. So you have three people saying three different dates. You're probably going to go with the coordinator, the one who coordinates it, I would think, that the cops spoke to. And so it really brings up the question of, was this even possible that this could have been delivered on the December 22nd, December 23rd, or was it delivered on December 24th? Those are the questions here. Okay, so that's kind of where we were at, trying to figure out, okay, when the hell was this delivered? And I'm trying to pull that up to see. Okay, so here's what you have. The Sun Week newspaper. According to the delivery driver, the weekly newspaper was delivered to the Crowley residence on December 23rd, 2014, between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. However, the delivery driver's mother told the detectives that her son delivered the paper on December 24th. So right there you have the mom and the paper delivery driver, who is underage, giving two separate dates. But this is where it gets even weirder. Additionally, Detective Bones spoke with the circulation coordinator for the Sun This Week newspaper, and that person said that the paper could have been delivered on December 24th, December 25th, or December 26th. So there you have this, and I know it's kind of weird, to see, okay, what day did this paper actually make it there? The police say that the paper was delivered on December 24th. That's what they settle on. But how the hell could that be
if the person who delivered it says that it was on the 23rd. So you have.
How old was the kid?
He's underage. He's underage, so we're not exactly sure. But my guess would be 16, maybe 17. Yeah. Now here's another strange thing: is one week after this, he pretty much quits, and he does not deliver the paper the next week, and and nobody delivers the paper the 2 following weeks there either. So that's why I always kind of follow this Sun Newsweek thing. I felt like there was something more, and if I could just follow this trail, that maybe this would kind of help us figure out, okay, because if this paper was delivered on the 26th, then that means that at least somebody in that house didn't die until the 26th. Right. So, now, if it was delivered on the 23rd, like the newspaper person who said that it was, okay, great. But how does the delivery person say that it was delivered on the 23rd, but the person who is in charge of coordinating this newspaper says that it could have only been delivered on the 24th, the 25th, or the 26th? Unless this newspaper delivery driver is a time traveler, there's no way he could have delivered it on the 23rd.
Well, that's a possibility, though, Greg.
Well, it's yeah, but the newspaper is the newspaper from the 26th, though, isn't it?
Come on, man.
It's dated on the 26th, but because it's a weekly paper, sometimes they'll like say, okay, well, we're going to do it, and plus it's Christmas and et cetera, et cetera. But I just don't see how he could deliver it on the 23rd if it wasn't even ready until the 24th. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
So still got all these.
I have an interesting
yeah
thing to share with Greg. Because he shared so with me. He might already have looked into this, but after we go through the pictures, I got a screen share. I'd love to share with Greg.
So, what can you say about this one, Greg, for the listeners?
About this picture right here?
Yeah.
So what you have? Yeah.
What I
is there something?
What I can say, that silver Christmas ball that was in the bin must have fallen off this tree, this white one here, because it's got the same.
Yeah, well, one of the police knocked it off.
Well, yeah.
Going through.
Yeah, of course. So there's Alu Akbar, and look like that looks like. Hold on again.
I'm laying with you.
I'm sorry, Greg. This is just my psyche.
Sure.
Can you? I'm going to zoom in here. Look at this. Is that like a handprint on the window that you just?
No, that's a reflection.
Yeah, that's.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I do this too many times, guys. I just do this too many times. I'm just putting it under the microscope, but that looks like someone's hand on the freaking.
Well,
window.
somebody should. The police sure didn't. That's for sure.
Well, have a look at it. One, two, three.
I know. It's good. I'm thinking Halloween stuff right now.
I got an angle that I got.
Those are those bookshelves.
Oh, there we go. Mm-hmm.
So this is the couch, Bill. You're talking about the dog hair on. Get on.
That isn't there.
Probably would have slept on it every night.
Dog hair is not there. We went. I remember Greg going through that too, talking about it. This next one though is something that I have not heard you or anybody bring up yet.
Like the dog didn't grab the pillow off it either. I mean, not that would be a normal thing, but you know what I'm thinking? See, all right, whoever painted that, that was in blood, Greg?
Yes, correct. That was in Mel's blood, in the wife's blood. Yeah.
The thing is, it's so thin, and I find that peculiar because someone who would not want. See, there's not
Shut up, conspiracy theorist.
There's no blood splattered all over the place other than right there. It's not on the couch. It didn't drip down the wall. It didn't drip on the couch. When they applied it, it doesn't look like anything. And whatever they used to put it on the wall didn't drip. It wasn't saturated. It obviously wasn't saturated. And it's almost like they wanted to keep the house clean. It's I don't know.
I got a mind blower coming up for y'all.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
That's a great.
Well, Greg, I just want one question. Was there any blood splatter on the ceiling at all?
No. No, there may have been one little dot above the A or the L somewhere. There was one little dot that I remember somebody thought when they got the photos, they thought that there was a bullet hole up there, but I think it was just a piece of blood or something.
My question is this: did they step on the couch, lean over the couch, or move the couch forward to paint that on there? They would have had to step.
That's a
There
great
would have been
question.
a big. If there was a guy, like a big guy with a bunch, boots or shoes, or it's snow on his feet.
Or you're looking for
would've,
some imprints on the couch. Good call.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, the
and
dog did it.
This
Bill, the
I
dog
would
did
think that the couch was pulled out, because if you go back to that photo that you just had up and you look on the right hand side, see where that where the plug is on the lower right hand side.
Oh, down here?
Where that tree thing is. It looks like that whole tree was supposed to go around the whole couch. So if somebody pulled it out, then that would make sense why it's there, and then all of a sudden it's like at the bottom of the couch.
right.
Like some type of ornament for the trees or something. Yeah.
It's like a Christmas lighting. Yeah, it's a Christmas light that is supposed to just go around the couch. That's what I think it is.
Well, see, all the lights were off. It seems too. It feels like it.
That's true. There was only one light on. That's right.
That's what it felt like. That's what it seems like to me. Like just.
So
there was one kitchen light on, and then all the Christmas, Christmas tree lights and stuff. But yeah, there was only one light on in the whole house, and that was in the kitchen. So they wanted you to know, hey, that we did the murders right here, and just look through this kitchen.
So, Greg, I just want to know: have you paid attention to when this photo was taken? It was like 10 to 6 by the looks of it, unless the clock stopped.
Yeah, I think if you look at, when we looked at multiple photos, you'll see that the clock does kind of move. The time on the clock moves.
Yeah, 10, almost 10. Well, I'll say 5:59 at night. So. Yeah.
So it's about 5 or 6 hours after the 911 call.
And then you got the shoes here. We got hair, probably blood somewhere as well. Oh yeah, you got a couple of blood.
Here's a random thought. Here's a random thought. It's just
where we're at. Where do you see it? Oh, like it mixed in there, the little
mixed in with the hair.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But here's a random thought. We have to consider all possibilities. Let's say. Oh yeah.
Dog poo.
Let's say.
No, there's a bunch in the basement. He's right.
Oh, yeah, but let's say two people. Maybe two people wrote different Allah Akbars. Like, so let's say a kid joined in, like being trained in the family murder of Christians or whatever. Like one of them didn't know how to spell right, but the dad wrote it right, and he's like joined in. It's far fetched, but I don't think an American Islamist would.
There's no freaking way. Even if they are correct, and he went insane, there's no way that in his last freaking writing, he's going to misspell it.
I have to tell you that
had to be like not David Crowley.
That had to be like a 7 foot to 8 foot tall type of human being to get right. Look at the handprint right here. Right, to write it. Look how close to the ceiling is, and look where the couch is. You need to be at least 7 to 8 feet tall.
Yep, and they have no proof that David did that.
And they absolutely, did an excellent job of not getting any blood on the clock. I might have.
Greg,
it's pretty good.
Well, Greg, Greg, how tall was David Crowley?
He was a little over 6 feet, I believe. Yeah,
right.
A little more than 6 feet.
Look where the couch is, and look where this handprint right near the ceiling. You need to be at least 7 to 8 feet.
Yep, that's insane.
I'm
wondering if the Bible is missing. I'm wondering if any of the Christian books on that shelf have been ripped out of there. And
that's the first thing that I looked for was a Bible in that house.
And the Quran. And the Quran. Did he have a Quran too?
The Quran is actually ripped out on the living room floor.
Oh.
So that not only did they write all of that, but they actually ripped out the pages of a Quran and spread it across the whole living room floor. Like that's exactly what you see right there. And it was also found.
Oh my bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just one last thing. It was also found conveniently right next to where David was.
Wasn't Kamel a Muslim to begin with?
Yes.
So I mean,
but she
Right.
also even back in Texas when she went to a Christian school. So the whole theory about her being a strong Muslim and the family being
It's not true.
hardcore
No.
Muslims is really not true. I'm just
Hold
not buying
on.
that was part of playing into the whole narrative, though. I believe
that was playing into the theory that it was a honor killing. Yeah,
right,
definitely.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or something like she's no real Muslim, or like
Yeah.
so much for.
Right. Is
you know.
that a cat underneath the Christmas tree?
It looks like one. I know.
It's a stuffed animal.
Yep.
It's a stuffed
it is.
animal. Yeah.
If you look at it from the other view, again, Greg has seen how many of these photos from all different
Too
views?
many. Too
Right.
So
But
I'm
I
sorry,
got
Greg.
something for you, man. That can add to
Greg,
this big time,
Greg,
and it's
I
forensic
don't want-
evidence that this
I
is
don't want to
complete
keep
bullshit.
saying. I don't want to keep saying sorry because
Please,
For those
no,
people
please.
for those people that don't know, I used to be in security, and my cousin is a Australian police officer. We used to do this together. He's 9 months old. We look at these stuff and we go over everything. And that looked like a freaking cat, someone's cat. But anyway.
You know what? I was sort of thinking the same thing. Like Sophia, she wrote. Wait, was it Crypt? Who wrote it? Somebody wrote something about. Mary Holt, I think, wrote about the clock. Why not just remove the clock? That was Sophia.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the same thing. They would have had to go around the clock, like over and not touch it, not push it. If they were killers, violent killers, they just would have ripped it off the wall. Like.
Right.
I mean, like, it's like if they, well, maybe they were trying to be quiet, basically, I don't know. It shows control. It shows control.
There was no.
Interesting. It does show.
Now,
control. Yeah.
the door was left open, ajar. This fetus here from the.
Is that a bullet, the shell casing right there too?
Yes, it is. Yes, that's a.
Oh, yeah.
Bullet. That's a bullet right there.
And where was the body in relation to the bullet shell casing?
So this would be. This is not really close to any of where the bodies are. The body. This is like the other side of the. Like.
Yeah.
Really?
You can see where the front door is there. So this is that bullet casing is pretty far off. Not too far off, obviously, but for the angle for it to
That's
land
another
and
one.
for that one to land there, you can kind of guess of where somebody would have to be standing. So think about a 40 cal Springfield XD, and when you fire it, think about the way that the shell leaves the gun.
Sure.
Ejects. Thank you.
So-
and so that should help you figure out this.
It leaves
So,
it
Greg,
hot.
just to tell some of the audience, the body is way over to the right of this photograph in the lounge room, and this bullet's in the hallway.
Yeah.
Well, it would leave extremely hot. I would think if it hit any rug or furniture, it would, might have-
And again, that would depend on the trajectory which the bullet was fired and such.
yeah.
But, we keep splitting hairs because there's so many hairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dog
There's
head.
so little hair, dog hair for sure.
Dog head.
Little.
Yeah, dog
Yeah.
head for sure. Yeah, dog head for sure. And that's another. Is that the same bullet? Yes.
It's a bullet casing, so it's just the casing of one of the bullets.
So it's the same kind of floor that the gun was found on, or was it on the rug? Was it?
The gun was on the rug, kind of closest to the wall, close to where the writing is. So if you're looking at this image here, the gun would be to the far left.
So this David.
That's
Cowell-
actually that's Kamel. That's Kamel.
Kamel.
She's
Yep.
face down. To the left of that.
Ooh,
where
can you
Kamel
zoom in on that?
Is David. Now this is one of the only photos in the 711 photos. There are 3 very disturbing photos. This
Kamel's
one,
under a blanket, right?
Kamel is above a blanket, but I think one of David's feet is underneath
Under
it.
it.
One of Kamel's hands is actually underneath her
Can you
body. So
zoom in
the
on
other
that?
question was, how did the dog eat both of her hands if if one of her hands was underneath? her?
that was what I was getting at. Can you go back real quick, Jamie, and zoom in on it?
Yeah,
So
sure.
you can see the rip. If you go down, you can see the rip in her right leg. There.
Yeah, I can't go down. I can't
Can't go down.
yet.
Wait, I think that's a different photo, though. Oh, is that? Oh, that's you zooming in. Got it.
Yeah, it's in the zoom. It probably right around here.
Okay, what are we looking at just above her?
Just above her, those are blank. That's her sweats. What he has the arrows on.
So
right
while the
now.
dog's eating while the dog's eating them, it just doesn't move. I mean, that's
and those are blankets. So she was over those blankets, but of course, remember her head is gone. So
right.
And then,
Yeah, but I mean, the dog might have tried to like rip into all that stuff and pull on it and yank on it.
And there are no official.
Hang on a minute.
Photos
Hang on a minute.
of the corpses, right?
When they took the photo of the lounge room from this angle here, going up there, you don't see any of this. Must be a before photo, yeah?
No, and that's what I'm at, Greg. There's no, from what I've seen, I haven't seen him yet. Is there any photos of the deceased corpses? Anything, or just that? Is that the most we get?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Are there any photos of the corpses?
Yes, I'll pull one up for you guys.
There are.
I'm just going through quick.
Yeah, just be very careful here.
Greg and I have been through all this. I want to see the.
No.
I haven't seen.
I want to get to this point because this is what I brought up earlier. This was kind of strange the way.
Sorry, I was being selfish.
I think there was a screw that was missing from this, Greg. If I'm understanding, it wasn't really great, but I know you got blood prints on the handle there too. That right.
This is the front door here that you're looking at right here.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a blood
spot.
Closed. That's a blood spot right there. I'm not mucking around.
It could be a lot of different things, though, Jamie.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, what we know for sure is that
could be anything.
This is what I'm really talking about. This is
Right.
what I'm really talking about. This part here. I mentioned it earlier in this bulletin. This show here. This was broken.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been in disrepair too. You know, I mean, it could have been. You know what I mean?
There was one thing that Sean Wright said to Dan Hennon very early on, that the police knocked down the front door, that they kicked in the front door. And obviously we know that that's not true. The question was, why would Sean, of course, because he's just spreading lies, but otherwise, why would he even say that?
Greg,
but is it possible that somebody did at some point kick this door down or something?
Greg, someone jarred this with a freaking screwdriver. Have a look at it. Come on.
No, I want to see the body pictures, man. I want to see.
Do you think it's somebody coming in or coming out?
You guys are just going to keep me waiting.
Check the private chat. I left you something.
I've been following this for a very long time, just like Greg, and I have not seen any pictures of the bodies. I didn't.
In a second, Greg. My observation. Did you say this part here underneath the door thing? It's a screwdriver job. It's from the outside going in.
Wow.
Oh, okay. I see.
This part here.
No. Okay, so there's pictures of the bodies in the house, but there's no pictures of like morgue pictures or anything like that, like complete pictures of their bodies.
Oh, correct.
Right. Okay. Because I mean, you see again a lot of true crime. You see actual pictures of the bodies, and here, so we have them with clothes on. Okay. Now I see. Okay, so I have seen these.
Here's the thing,
and they do. I mean, especially if you're looking at these right here. I remember distinctly. This is not. That's a freaking. Can you let me screen share this right here, right here of Kamal. I'm sure you saw too, Greg. We talked about it. I think of Kamal's body. It does not look like her midsection does not look like even skin. It looks like a mannequin for sure.
So we're talking about three.
Doesn't look anything like a body.
Is it three or four people murdered? How many people got killed?
Three.
It was
three.
So there would
almost a 5-year-old.
There's that increases the chances of it being two or more people trying to kind of round them up.
Pause it right there.
Yeah, that's one of them. But if you go to the end of this one, so that's one angle. That's the one that was posted on a guy named Tony Floyd's website that shows where the gun landed. Photo we've been trying to get for years.
Over there? where it's in the wrong side of his body. Yep.
Yeah, and then if you go to the end of this video, you'll see maybe some people here have not seen that image.
Yes. Can you just play the whole lot, Eric, for some people?
Well, the thing I want to point out is Kamal's body, where you look, where it looks like, I don't know what that is. That dog would have, anyway, above that, I mean, that doesn't even, is that supposed to be a belt that she's wearing right there?
It's like a girdle, yeah.
And, okay, so again, and this is going to be the big surprise for you, Greg.
Well, Greg.
Seriously, Greg's seen a lot, but I'm going to blow your mind with this one. I've been waiting to share it with you since I heard you were coming on, because there's something, there's a big part that is missing from these bodies, and it's used in every single forensic analysis, especially after 3 weeks. It's to blow your mind, Gabe.
Rick says this in the chat room. Did the coroner ever explain or comment on the daughter cracked or broken rib?
No, all they say is that her third rib was fractured, and they say it very quickly, and they never talk about it.
What's missing from these bodies, guys?
We can't say anything. It's just a
we're not seeing it.
You're not? Oh, hang on. I'm looking at it. I'm not even sharing it. Hang on a sec here. Because this a perfect picture to go with what I'm going to present next. And it's I want to know if this is in the autopsy reports, because it is used in every single forensic analysis when it comes to bodies who have been left for longer than 3 or more days. Here we go. I'll share this with you.
Well, rigor mortis.
And let me go back up. Go back here, and we'll go back to
about 21.
Yeah, right about
42 that shows all 3 bodies.
There. Here we go.
That's a different one, but that's, yeah.
So what's missing from these bodies?
The leg? No.
Nope.
We need to see
what's missing from these bodies that have been laying there for 3 weeks.
Well, they're not all swelled up, for one.
Yeah, but that's not what's missing.
The hand?
Well, I don't see any blood pools anywhere that I'm sure of, so I'm not sure.
That also, but what else is missing? This is, again, used in forensic analysis.
I don't see a bullet hole. I don't see any openings that I can tell for sure.
There'd be multiple amount of insects, maggots, and bugs that would be crawling all over the bodies after 3 weeks. There is none.
Right.
Because when you go into forensic analysis, that's how they determine. A lot of times, how long the bodies have been. There's none. Where are they?
The body would have been decomposed by now.
Yeah, but there's no. Where's the maggots? Where's the flies?
That's what I'm saying. Well, the body would have been decomposed by them.
It's not winter inside the house.
Yeah, but we need to know what temperature. What the thermostat was set on, though, too, because the door was cracked.
It was set at 68.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of a.
Go back to that photo again, because it looks like the midriff was all bruised.
Some parts did.
It was lacking any forensic evidence that the bodies have been there for longer than a day.
Yeah.
By the way, kiwis.
Here we go, Greg.
Oh, sorry, guys.
No, go ahead.
Kiwis do last, but kiwis do last a long time as long as they're cool. I used to leave them out. I didn't have heat in my house, and I knew how long a kiwi could last. They could last a long, long time. If the
in that area, the house would have been full of maggots, insects, multiple different kinds of insects, and there were none. That was one thing that really stood out. So this is how they determine, how long it is. They show you how long it takes before they lay the eggs and before the maggots. And there weren't any, and the amount of different types of beetles, adult flies, other insects, cheese skippers, larvae, none of this, no eggs, nothing. And this is how they determine how long a body's been there for 3 weeks. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but if you want to, Jamie, if you want to share this right here, this will tell you. And it wasn't there, none of it. Where were these? Anyway, it's insane. Insane. No eggs, no bugs, no maggots. There'd be maggots everywhere. There'd be, especially in the dog's poop too. I mean, it would be everywhere. They'd be everywhere. According to this,
they'd be going in and out of the door.
Death, there were none. Okay, I'm gonna go off this now. But
if people were in their backyards, they might have noticed flies coming in and out of that back door too.
But we just had a picture of the bodies, and there were none, zero, zip.
No, yeah,
none.
I'm saying if there were some, then it's likely they would notice.
Now, being in heat speeds up the development, as you can see right here.
Right.
So they were inside. I'm assuming that nobody turned the thermostat off, right? It was winter, correct? So that would have developed. That would have made it even more.
Yeah, it was set to 68.
That's why I want to know what the forensics are, and if they use this method, which almost every single forensic investigation does to determine time of death, is
well, they always
maggots.
check how long. They always check for how the blood seeped down by gravity. What gravity does to your internal blood in your skin.
Sure, but how could they determine anything? Because there were no maggots. That would mean they would have died within a day or two, according to this. And this is forensic.
Eric,
does that make sense?
Yeah, well, Eric,
There were none. We just looked at the photo.
People in the chat room, Eric, was saying, well, especially Sophia, she said it was 68 degrees, and then Vivid Monkey says, does the temperature matter when the insects will appear?
No, but it matters how many there will be. And again, there weren't any from what we just saw.
Right.
And you can go through this. I'm just kind of scrolling through it, but it just shows you there would be maggots crawling all over the place. There would have been bugs, beetles, different types of what was it? A cheese something? But anyway, different. There were none. Adult flies. They're not that important to determine the time of death, but there will be those. And we just saw the picture. Grubs. Pupae, eggs. There's none of this. It's something that I noticed. I remember seeing I do remember seeing the dog poop in the basement. Where was all the maggots and the flies and the dog poop? There weren't any.
Wasn't there? No.
Right. So if this is how forensics are determined in a lot of ways to the time of death, I would love. I'm going to look into it myself. I'm like, hey, Greg, want to look into something else? Like you've already. I'm going to look into this too because I want to see if I can find a record of if this was used to determine time of death.
Okay.
Or how they determine time of death.
The only way that they determined the time of death, I believe, was based on their digital records. Basically, that's really it. That's why they say, well, because there was some activity on December 25th or something. Then they must have all been dead by that date. But they really don't know. They really do not.
Well, here they tell you, the types of insects and larvae and eggs and maggots that are found in a body determine, how long.
If there's no maggots are present,
nothing.
The only
So what it tells you here is that that's a big way to determine how long a body's been there because they look at different stages and that's how they can tell. But that never been.
Yeah. The counter that I heard to that was that because it was cold, because of the climate, because of this is in Minnesota, and because of the cold weather. I don't know if that was before we found out the temperature that it was set to heat at 68. So I don't know. 68 to me is kind of cold.
68 degrees. But Greg, Cash says this. The bugs and fly may be sluggish, but they will still find the body in that degree.
Oh, for sure. Doesn't it? 68 is not even close to cold enough for maggots or other insects to appear on dead bodies.
Yeah, but
that's a fact because I've already read through this.
Yeah, but how cold was it outside? Because that does.
That's a good
It only
question.
matters how cold it was inside.
Well,
we're not talking about maggots and the bugs coming from outside. Because it's part of the forensic that happens when a body dies.
Yeah, but it's kind of a hit and miss sometimes, depending on just how if they kind of find that house in the winter.
If they found the house with the windows open and snow on the floor, I might be able to find that. But there is that
1/4 inch,
and we have that too if it's refrigerated.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like. Plus, they weren't in the eggs like the eggshell. I mean, not that we know of, So it's like, what I was thinking earlier when they talked about there being dummies, the possibility of a dummy. I thought, well, what are the chances are that he knew he was going to be murdered and like brutally, so he had to fake his death because of what he knew.
All right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was a popular theory when this first came out because Colin had said dummies. One of the big theories that we got in the group was that, well, he must have faked his death.
Right. So Cash says this in the chat room. The only way there will be no bugs around would be if the whole area was deep frozen.
Interesting. Wow.
Right.
That's a big statement. I mean, that's a big thing there. So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's what I meant kind of earlier when we kind of began. It's like even in the winter, the bugs do. They kind of hibernate, wake up. They get around.
So they should still be there. That's
flies do, because flies, they just freeze up and then unfreeze and start flying again.
Well, right. And I mean, that is
and there's no flies mentioned. There's no insects.
That it was winter
in police reports.
It was not winter inside that house, though. That's the kicker right there. I mean, if the bodies are found outside in the winter, that's totally different. That's in this article too. But
like
these bodies were not outside. They were not at the temperature where maggots and other insects wouldn't have freaking grown on the bodies. So that one was a huge one to me. Maybe not to everybody else, but to me that was a huge one.
That's huge.
I looked at those bodies and there wasn't any. And it's feces in the dog poop. None of that either. Or feces. I'm sorry. Bugs or larvae or any type of maggots.
Right.
There was none of that. There would have been. Anyway, yeah. Another mind blower.
Yeah. So the reason why
add it to the list.
Right. Just another one to the list. Right.
No, the reason why Cash says what she's saying is that because she studied this stuff way too much. But flies
okay.
But flies will snake under a piece of bark on a tree and will appear in a split second with worm blood.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
And the vivid monkey, as there was blood at the scene, the insects probably arrived very soon after death. Yes, and they would have laid eggs, and there would have been a ton of bugs there, and a ton of larvae, and a ton of different crazy insects all over the place, including maggots. And there was none in that picture. Do you want me to go back to the picture?
You're right, but you know what else? What other way they test how much time the flies have been around is because they check the windows and they check things flies go on, and they look for the fly spots. Flies leave those fly spots on things they crawl on, and
I'm more specifically about the maggots.
Yeah, Eric, go to the picture at the end of this video too, because that gives the same bodies from a different angle. And I know people don't want to watch; they don't want to look at it.
No, it's not fun to watch, but we're gonna hope that our instincts are right.
So,
real bodies, and if they
this is the one. Yeah, this is the one from a different angle. This one was accidentally given to us, and I did blur out the daughter, the daughter's face.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah. So this was given to. This was accidentally released by the BCA, and so this is public data here. What we're looking at, we're the ones who actually did that to the daughter.
Wow, when did you get this?
We got this a while ago.
Oh, God. Again, we got to hope that this is not real and this is stage props. This is freaking horrific to look at.
Well,
at the same time, people, the same thing I was just talking about, they're not there. Nothing. Maggots, no fly. There would be flies buzzing all over the place, and maggots crawling, and eggs. There would be.
Well, Mary,
I've already looked at the forensics of it.
Yeah, but hold on. Mary just picked up a good point. So if there were no bugs, is it because they were not dead for long?
Exactly. Ding, ding, ding. Right. Or these aren't bodies, or I don't know, man.
Do they look like mannequins? Do they look like they were mannequins that were set up to act like they were home when they weren't?
Right.
No.
The whole point is if they were there for 3 weeks, absolutely 100%, there would be maggots, flies, and all kinds of craziness going on here, and there isn't. And I want to see that forensic report that tells us that, again, for 3 weeks, given.
I've seen plenty of mannequins.
If it was that cold, you'd see condensation on the window. I mean, it was not.
Yeah, that does look
perfect.
Real. Yeah,
environment for men. I mean, they would have grown and it would have happened already, but there would be for 3 weeks with the dog running around peeing and shitting everywhere. They would have been everywhere.
Yeah, there's no dust on the drapes. There'd be dust. Right. Like
so
there's
it's time to talk to the coroner and hold them accountable.
Yeah, the coroner skip.
This is another good point.
Yeah, I'll get off this. I don't even want to watch. I don't want to see this anymore. But
there's another good point
because I want to just. And I'm looking, trying to find any trace of any insects whatsoever.
Well, here's another good point. Here's another good point. The Viv and Monkey says this in the chat room. This is a pickup scene. How is there no blood splatter on the carpet from David?
It might be on it though, like they kind of laying over it. You know, we can't really tell there.
Like
but
freaking train wreck, man. I want to click off it, but I can't stop staring at it to find evidence.
I've seen plenty of dummies. I've known about how to fake scenes and all. I was gonna make some things like that myself in movies and whatever. That looks pretty real. It could be fake, but it looks more real to me. But there's no spiders and cobwebs in the corners of the room.
There's no maggots. There's no insects.
Yeah, there's no bugs.
Yeah, be crawling all over the bodies. 3 weeks? Come on, man.
You know what?
You've even seen a murder film, like a horror flick. You know this.
We got a million pictures. There's not one fly on the wall anywhere.
None.
Right.
On the bodies, though. That's how they determine the time of death after this long, if the conditions are correct. That's insane.
And that's why Cash says this in the chat room. That is not a realistic image based on the facts released.
Correct.
Totally wrong. Nothing adds up in any way.
Correct. That could be anybody.
Was he saying that was a satanic town by chance? Did he ever? They usually
Apple Valley. Well, you know what? I don't think he ever said that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Greg. But there's a lot of shady stuff going on surrounding this in the Apple Valley Police. We can say that for sure, right?
There's a lot of Freemason. I mean, if you look up the history of that state, you'll find a lot of cultic stuff, a lot of Freemason activity, et cetera, et cetera. You'll find a lot of that. Yeah.
They settle in towns near each other, and then they let like certain amount of Christians be amongst them to sort of to make it look kosher.
Sacrifice them when they can, maybe.
And they gather up. No, they coordinate. All the neighbors will coordinate against the time they're going to do a killing. We got to do it. We're all witnesses that aren't witnesses, basically.
I hate to make another freaking gruesome point, but I'm noticing. So we're seeing Kamel face down, and again, when somebody dies traumatically, nonetheless, they normally shite themselves, and I see no evidence of that. Kamel or.
Okay, what about like the gunpowder on the hand?
Yeah,
the pants would be shite.
So Danny became a Freemason not long after this.
Oh my God!
What about gunpowder? I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, they always determine the time of death. In other words, when you die and you're on the ground, your blood settles. The blood in the body settles to the bottom side.
Right.
And they determine, how much did settle and how much hard and what the color is, and
occult sacrifice possibly. And
yeah,
great point. And the thing is, God help us if this is real, but it kind of gives you an idea of why anybody around the film might have backed off now, doesn't it?
Right.
Sure.
Your opinion, Greg. Vatican say was this an occult sacrifice?
I think it's possible. I think it's highly possible. Yep.
This is what you need to do. This is what we need to do. Go back and check the astronomy by chance. All right. See, you have three people killed. You have a male and two females, and then you check the ages, and the rituals would have to do with special days, but more importantly, where the moon and the certain alignments were, and that would have to do with how many people died and what kind of male and female.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a stretch, but it sometimes applies.
Yeah. So, Greg, this one from the Vivid Monkey, the tubing in the basement tub could be a prop or evidence left behind. What's your thoughts?
It could be. I think I know David had a fish tank, and so it kind of looks like the tubing that you would connect to a fish tank to let the whole bubbles go in there. So it could be that. We've also looked into the possibility of being tied to a humidifier or some type of breathing thing. So it has those tubings too. Kamel did work at a medical facility, so it could be something related to that. I know there's been a lot of theories on it, and so I'm definitely curious to hear everybody's theories on it, because right now I really don't know. So I really don't know exactly what that is. I think it's very strange that it's there in that bath. I mean, there's so many. If you just not even looking at the autopsy photos, which if anybody does want to read the autopsy reports, you can read those. We do have that. That's all public stuff there too. But just looking at some of those photos, especially in those bathrooms, why is there a cup near every toilet? Weird things like that, where these paper towels are. So you can really get into the just strange things. But the fact that tubing is there has really bothered me, and I have no idea why it bothers me so much. So I'm always curious to hear people's thoughts on what they think that tubing is.
Yeah. I got to look at that someday. But here's the other thing, and it probably won't matter. Now, plants, how people water their plants and how dry they were, or if they were starting to shrivel up at the tips, would be a factor in, like if everyone, because they didn't get watered. But on the other hand, those were indoor plants that seemed like maybe they didn't need that much water. That's something to look into, maybe.
Yeah.
If they want water too dry, the soil totally dry, or leaves at the leaf tips. Look at the leaf tips.
We say Cash says this in the chat room, that's concrete, then that's pure physics, and unless the bleed out deliberately elsewhere, there would be a blood settle. So yeah, that's true.
I'm still over here staring at those dead bodies like Wayne Carver.
I would be. Yeah, I'm not I'm not squeamish myself.
You guys remember Wayne Carver, right?
A little bit.
I don't know. The coroner from frickin' Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to believe.
I knew.
Looking at this again,
if you're
maggots, this is not.
I mean, looking at that photo, Eric, there's so many things in that photo. One thing, if you look at where that recliner is, in separate photos, there is a huge. This is the biggest blood stain in the whole house. Period. There on that recliner. At the bottom, if you're looking at the image, look at the bottom left. Sorry, the bottom left there. And in other photos, you can see it. This is called item 34. This huge blood stain. It is a brown blood stain, as big as somebody's head. Okay. And it is there. Now, obviously, that is 100% proof that somebody's body was actually moved. Somebody's body was near that recliner and they were bleeding out. It is a huge
we're not saying that these aren't dead bodies and it's not them. But we're saying that, again, there's not trying to be any disrespect to any of that. There's
they never test that.
They are dead bodies. They're freshly dead because it's impossible per forensics that these bodies have been there for 3 weeks without the maggots and the bugs on them. This fabulous thing.
Yeah, well, Greg, on that point about that stain, are you speculating that the head was severed off the body from that recliner?
No,
I believe somebody's body was at where that blood stain is on that recliner. Somebody's head was probably laying up against that recliner, and at some point it was moved.
It wasn't there.
Now, here's what's crazy is they never test the blood on that recliner. This is literally the biggest blood stain in the whole house.
Wow.
In the whole house.
How do you know
they
that?
Never test it.
How'd you find that out?
I mean, we looked at the BCA documents of what they've tested. I did document that in my book too.
Blood on the recliner.
I never tested the blood on that recliner. That is item 34.
And it's a ginormous thing. Wow. I mean, there we go. What else do you need to follow?
Greg, you gave me the photo of the recliner, didn't you?
I don't know if I hope I did. I don't know if I did.
I'll go through.
Sorry, I can vouch that it's there.
Yeah, if not, I can find it for you.
I mean, so many
in the lounge room.
That last one though, Greg. Holy crap!
It's
like,
actually
I'm
number.
Your mind was something, and you're like, "Oh, well, let me show you something, Eric."
So that is in those BCA. So that is in the 711 photos. It's labeled BCA 4984.
So why would they release the photo of them laying on the floor like that, but not release the forensic?
They did not. They did not mean to release that photo, from what we were told. Because after.
You're talking about the brown colored recliner near the Christmas tree?
Correct.
All right, I'm seeing the back of it now.
Okay, so that is item 34, the blood at the bottom of that recliner. We only have a few photos of it, which is kind of weird, but they never tested it.
I wonder if you can do a Freedom of Information Act to try to get them to release the coroner photos, because they're required as coroners to take photos of any dead bodies.
Yeah,
they investigate. So that there are, I don't know if they'll ever be. Of course, they probably will never be released, but they are out there. The coroner is required to take those pictures, right. And if they don't have those pictures, so I'm wondering Freedom of Information, because being able to analyze the bodies themselves, wow, let a freaking real coroner analyze those and go.
I've got
Absolutely.
Eric, that these bodies have only been there for a day or two or three at most, right? I mean, I'm just
or
saying,
an hour.
That would be key, but again, that's like. Are we gonna ever get to analyze any of the bodies from Handy Six? So I digress. Good luck on that.
I'm trying to get to that recliner. I have got one photo here, but it's a bit far away. So you can't really well.
Yeah, there's a couple photos, and like it took me a while to go through it and find like the best one. The best one that I found is labeled BCA 4984.
What number is that? What number is that in 711? What number? I'm up to number 79 at the moment. 82.
So the TV was not on, nothing like that. No TVs, right? Just the Apple thing.
There was nothing on there. Everything was in sleep mode, basically. So whenever the police touched it, it turned on. So there were no passwords. If anybody has a Mac computer, most of them, once you turn it on, you have to put in a password. These had no passwords on. Once you touch any button on that keyboard, it just lights up and it shows you exactly what you want the police to see.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. There's something else I was thinking. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm in the bedroom. I'm in the bedroom.
4989. So I'm going to find it for you.
Okay, what about the trash people? See, because people who pick up trash, they the trash truck and everything, they would they may have noticed there was no trash going out week by week, and they could remember the very last time they picked up the trash.
Yeah.
Something like that, and maybe full of Christmas wrapping stuff and boxes thrown out.
Well, they would have said something about the door at the back being ajar. So.
Yeah, and that was always the thing, because in one of the photos, and I don't remember if it's because there's a recycling garbage can and there's a regular garbage can, but in one of them, there is one little tiny piece. It's almost like it's almost just like a little ripped out piece of paper that is still there at the bottom of that garbage can, which I always thought was kind of strange. But so I mean, both cans, there was nothing in it. So it was like, okay, where's all the Christmas wrapping? Where's all of this stuff? If they just died right after Christmas, you would expect all of that to be there. In the back area, kind of where the sliding door is in the back, there are like 4 or 5 black garbage bags, and so I was thinking, well, maybe that's where all of the Christmas wrapping is. We do that too because we have so many presents. We just have a bunch of bags, and we just throw all of the Christmas present, all of the wrappings. We throw them into those bags, set them somewhere, and then later on we'll take them out and dump them. So that's possible too.
Right. What about a bird?
Jamie, did you get that photo I just sent in the private chat?
Yeah, here we go. I've got it here.
If they were regular bird feeders, you could determine how long it was since they last filled a tube, but like the tubes hanging for the bird, depending on how tall they are.
Hold on.
Something like that. It's a clue.
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't see any bird feeders. I'm not sure about, I mean, obviously that's a different area than where I am, so I don't know how all that works.
Yeah, just sent me into
well, I'll be contacting a local coroner for various reasons, just to ask him about some of these photos that we just saw.
Yeah, that's all. I'm trying to stop
this.
A
professional saying there's no way
trying to stop.
They've been there longer than a couple days. It's insane.
Please don't. Oh, here we go. Thank you. Oh no! We did say it. We just say it for a brief moment. No, I've got to go right back to the. What number?
Yeah, so keep scrolling. It's going to be 4983 is the number that you're looking for.
4983. There we go.
Are there any numbers?
So once you get there.
Is there any?
Yes, there are. Yeah.
Okay.
Several.
4983. 49. I've got a lot to go down. Here we go. Here we go. So there's thousands of them. 498. What is it?
4983.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Okay. And that's where it starts. So then you'll see, starting right there. So that is, I mean, look at how big that blood stain is. Why not? I mean, they label it item 34. Why the hell are they not testing? Now, this is the recliner in the reclined spot. So this isn't how it was found either. So they reclined this chair, but in other photos, you'll see where that recliner is, and this is the bottom of it. So when it's unreclined, that blood stain is right against the living room carpet floor. So somebody's head was there, or something was bleeding there at this corner. Somebody's body had to have been there because it's not anywhere near where those bodies are found in any of the photos that we've seen. Somebody moved one of those bodies, period.
Yeah, that definitely looked like from the head.
It looks like a head, right? Yeah, like somebody's head was propped up against there, laying against there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Perfect round circle bend right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Perfect round.
I mean, almost fresh blood too at the bottom down there, right there too.
Yeah.
You know,
around here as well. And you're saying that this had never been tested?
Never been tested.
Wow. Wow.
Why not? Because that would show whose body was there, and that would also prove that somebody's body was moved.
See this part right here, Greg? That looks like a bullet hole right there.
I think it's just blood. I think it's just a big blood stain.
It could be blood, but like a bullet hole.
It's too small. Too small.
Yeah. Well, cigarette. No one smokes cigarettes in that house, but it looks like a cigarette burn.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that could be a bullet.
Oh my god!
I'm just saying what it is. Yeah.
One thing I noticed, which is really barely worth mentioning, but is worth mentioning, is basically, when you have a dishwasher and you go to empty it, I don't know what the percentage is of what people do. See, some people just open the bottom, then they empty it, and then they slide it back in, and then they do the top, or they do the top, and then they take everything out, close it, and then they pull the bottom out. But they were both pulled out. Now, I know that's not that abnormal either way, but I mean, I don't know how normal that is for people. Maybe someone was setting up, trying to make it look a certain way.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm barking up the wrong tree at the
It's
moment.
interesting to me that I understand that the head and the neck is where a dog goes for first, but isn't it interesting that, like, the skull or a person's head or their fingerprints, which are on their hands, are like
I know. Yeah.
or
that's what I
the
was
teeth.
thinking, yeah.
You know, what the dog eat the teeth too? Where's the anyway? Are the biggest key to identifying somebody who died, aren't they? Isn't that how
Wasn't
That's how they were identified.
right? It's just
Did I
this is
see-
getting more and more shady, man.
Did I see like?
You know, it wasn't 100% shady. Now it's like a 900%.
Yeah, but was one of the feet like? I think the
I'm looking
child.
at this. Where's the teeth?
Wasn't there just socks on one of the feet? I'm not sure if I saw that right.
I don't. I think not on the daughter. I think the only one who had socks on was Kamel. She had socks on. But that
Like, the
was-
dog did not eat the teeth, did not eat the freaking skull. Where's the other? This is.
doesn't make
Anyway.
sense.
But if the dog is going to chew the hands off, it would chew the feet off.
You know, the only way that
Right.
it will
That's a good
hold
point.
water, what we're talking about right now, is to talk to a real, much like 9/11, where you have over 3,000 architects and engineers that said there's no way that Building 7 fell from office fires into its own footprint and free fall speed. Same thing here. To have a coroner look at these pictures and say, no way. And the way to do it, peeps, is not to tell them what they're looking at or why they're looking at it. Just ask them, show them the picture, and ask for their perspective.
That's a
Right,
great
yeah.
idea.
That's
a
how I've
great
gotten every single architect and engineer, even the ones who thought 9/11 went down the real way, to kind of wake up, is don't tell them why they're looking at it. Just say, is this possible? And they're like, hell no. Well, do you know when this happened? When? Well, on 9/11. So this right here, this picture, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional, is impossible, to say the least, for 3 weeks for sure. So just show, and then this is how we can maybe move forward a little more, is to have the more credible people that we have, that are actually credentialed, that can agree with this. The coroner can go look at these bodies and go, 0 maggots after 3 weeks is impossible.
Yeah. Well, say, Greg, you
I'm
just
trying my ass off,
answered.
Greg, as I know you are too. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, Greg, you just answered the question. How does the dog eat the hand under the body? It's a good question.
I don't know. It doesn't make
this
sense.
None of it does. None of this makes sense. Well,
But
it
this
makes
one from
sense.
Sophia. The sample still existed 2 years ago. That I think it's from the couch or the recliner.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if it's still evidence or now. We need an attorney to be possible to get that sample.
Yeah. You would want to get that sample and have them test it and find out whose blood is it.
Yeah, I'm messaging coroners as we speak.
I mean, these are just some of the things that. I mean, the other thing is it's all the stuff that the authorities didn't do, right? And it's easy for us to sit here and just second guess. Oh, they should have done this. They should have done that. But it's like, why didn't you do that? They need to think about that. They have an answer as to why they didn't do that. Were they pressured not to do that? Was it just oversight? Was it because within 24 hours they already had their killer?
Giant blood splotch on a recliner right next to the bodies. You don't.
Why not?
That.
I mean, look at all the things that they did test. Why not test that?
And
one?
that was
That's
their
the
answer to
biggest
you, if I
one.
remember, is that they it wasn't really an answer. They really didn't give an answer.
Yep.
No, they pretty much. I think they were hoping nobody would really look at the item 34 and wouldn't focus on that pretty much. So I think with a lot of stuff that they gave us, and that's why they remember, Eric, all they gave us were 94 pages of police reports and 464 photos. That was it. They told us that was enough to prove their case. And obviously, the
How
more
does a photo
information
like
we got-
that horrible one that I just was
Yeah.
realizing, how did that just slip out? How does something like that?
Eric, there could be people on the inside trying to help us out.
Thank you. That's
That could be, and that's why I am.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I have family, I have friends in law, in enforcement. I try to make that clear. I don't hate law. I support law enforcement 100%. 100%. Yeah, there's bad cops. There's bad everybody out there. I'm a Christian. There's bad Christians out there too. You know what I mean? But so it's like, because we're questioning what they did, because we're asking these questions, does not mean that we think that all cops are bad or the cops are this or that. It's like, man, but these are just simple things, questions that the public is asking.
Sure.
And the authorities are not willing to give us those answers.
Right.
So that's why we're here. That's why we write books, we write blogs, we do videos, because we want to get those answers, not because we just want to nitpick at what they should have done, this and that. No, we want the answers, and we're not going to stop until we get those answers.
Right.
Now, Greg, we've got two questions in the chat room. The first one from Cass. Do you know the date this case was closed? She's not sure of the jurisdiction, but there's a rule to keep evidence for a set period of time regardless.
So the case is officially ruled as exceptionally cleared. Whether that means that it's closed, I don't believe so. So I think they kind of leave the door open. And that was on October 8th of 2015. So remember, the bodies are found on January 17th, 2015. The case is ruled exceptionally cleared, not closed, but it's ruled exceptionally cleared on October 8th, 2015. At that point, the police made it very clear they're not speaking to us. They never released like a public, okay, this is what happened, blah, 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 blah. They just say the case is closed. We're not talking about it. But they're never able to prove David Crowley guilty. So they basically quietly closed this case. And when you look at all of these Gray State goons, all of these goons that were working with David, that were putting so much pressure on us in that whole time frame to stop asking questions, to not ask questions. It just seems like, well, you guys are just hoping that everybody will just stop asking questions. The case will just kind of die, and then you guys will take David's project and do something with it. What the hell? What kind of weirdos are we dealing with here?
I think we know what kind of weirdos we're dealing with, right? And the thing is, I've never ruled this out, and I don't think Greg has either, or any of us, that maybe this did go down like they said. Whatever we were looking at the crime scene photos are completely BS. I'm not saying that, but we're not saying that the family was not murdered. There was some kind of MK Ultra craziness that went on with David Crowley, and he went insane. But the thing is, if that's the case, why do the crime scene photos not match up with what they said?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how it went down. You know, that'd be very easy. I mean, they do it. It's out there. Look it up. MK Ultra, mind control, all that good voice to God technology, you name it, right? It's out there.
I was just going to say the voice
out there. It could happen. So why would you have to stage a fake scene if that's the case?
And think about it.
Claiming is this is a fake scene, and any coroner is going to tell you the same thing.
But when we started the show, sorry, Jamie. But when we started the show, I was thinking of the voice to skull technology. It could have been in them, and they activated it. But they would have needed
conspiracy theorist, and
big time. But here's the kicker.
Possibly beheaded.
But they would have had to. They would have wanted to try to remove whatever they might have had in his skull. So they would have had to cover that evidence, and then blame the dog. You know,
for all we know, they were paid off a whole lot of money to move to some remote island and shut up forever and get the money. I mean, we really do not know, but what we do know is we're looking at these crime scene photos and looking at all the evidence surrounding this, that it is complete BS, and there's a lot of fishiness around it, and it needs to be investigated, and it should be investigated. And this law enforcement agency in Apple Valley obviously has been told to shut up for various reasons.
Apple in your eye, Valley?
Well, they're talking about crime scene photo. This is from Vivid Monkey. Do you have a pic of BCA 5106? Some have seen writing in the material of the bottom of the couch near the floor.
Yeah, I know exactly what they're talking about. So if you go to my website, thegraystage.wordpress.com, and if you scroll down to BCA photos, there's 711 photos there. You'll find all of the BCA photos, just pretty much what Jamie was looking at there too. And you can go through all of those photos, and you will see that photo there. So you can get the highest res as it was given to us. And hopefully, the point of my website, the point of having all the documents, all of those photos, is that so everybody here, if you want to do your own investigation or just look at all of this stuff, you can look at it without hearing my thoughts or hearing my biased view or anything like that on this case.
So what number photo would that be? 51. Yeah, I've got it here. 5106. I'm going to put it up to show you people. 5106.
Sophia 1776 is asking Greg to share the group and the YouTube, and I'm part of that group too.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
So the group is Justice for David Crowley and Family. We have almost 4,000 members now too.
It's been growing, Greg. It's been
growing. It's always growing. We always get new people that are, a lot of people after the COVID thing happened, man, a lot of people from multiple countries, multiple places. We have a monthly podcast that I hope to get you guys on at some point here too. So that comes out on the 1st of every month. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search for The Gray Stage. It'll pop right up.
Yeah,
the YouTube channel is the same.
So whenever you share a video, Greg, I automatically get a notification. Well, unless YouTube, the steps in the way sometimes.
Yeah, well, they suck at YouTube sucks, man. I'm so tired of
this is the photo.
Yep. Yep.
So, Greg, this is the photo, yeah?
Yeah, so this is this is one of the photos here, and a lot of people have looked at that. And if you see where the bottom of the couch is, where the couch and the carpet meet, right there in the center, kind of next between where item 44. If you go to the right, kind of where item 44. So if you go, all of that area. Some people have done some research and looked at that, and they think that spells out something. Look at go to the left a little bit, right there. So see 1, 2 lines. Okay, so see those lines. One of them kind of looks like a hand. So little to the right there. So that's one that could look like maybe three fingers or something. The problem it could be the dog.
Well, hold on.
From the dog.
Well, hold on, Greg. Sure. That's the same type of 3 fingers I saw on the bloody window earlier.
Kinda.
The same lines.
I mean, there could be symbology in here. Warning people, sure.
It's the same bloody 3 lines.
Triangle to the right of it too, up in the right.
Could have been as he was dying.
There's a triangle up there too. I mean,
the problem is there's no bodies in that.
The problem is where's the
intestine?
Where's any body? I mean,
it could be the dog is what I always thought that they were dogs
everywhere.
clothes.
This is ridiculous, man. It's just really hard to look at this, and I cannot wait for a credible.
Yeah, because where your cursor is, kind of where that book is, that's where to the right of that is where Kamel's head is. So there should be a lot of blood in that if she died right there.
I thought, right? Oh no, not Kamel's head. Yeah. Forget it.
Yeah, that's where Kamel's head that's where her body was basically found. Now, of course, remember it did have those blankets. So look at where those blankets are that are now up on the couch. Those blankets were down where item 44 was. So that could be why we're not seeing blood here, because blankets have all the blood on it. You can clearly see blood on those blankets. There's a few spots there. So I don't know. It just seems like
that's why I want a real coroner, a forensic person. Greg and I, we both. You should do the same, my brother. Is talk to any law enforcement that you know that are in forensics to look at this carpet, because I'm pretty sure, just being a layperson, that there would be a lot more stains, a lot more blood, and a lot more to that carpet than just what looks like somebody, tracked some mud in on it.
Right.
Every law enforcement person I've talked to. Yeah, I haven't talked to any coroners. I do think that's an awesome idea. Let's get 3,000 coroners to sign and say there's something wrong here, man.
Even a coroner. I mean, to have one on with you, go through these and say it's impossible. That's not possible. Not that it'll change anything, because again, 3,000 architects and engineers plus change anything. But I digress.
So those were the blankets the bodies were wrapped up in, because there is blood there on the blue one.
Correct. So those blankets were under the body. They were under Kamel's body and partially under David's feet.
They moved the blankets to the couch to take pictures of them
after the bodies were moved. Because obviously this photo was taken after the bodies are moved.
But they're just like, let's throw them in a pile over here on the couch and take a picture.
Right.
Oh my God, Greg! Again, new photos. Sorry,
there's
real-time reactions, folks.
Yeah,
that happens never when there's a crime scene. Those would have been bagged up and taken away immediately, not thrown on the couch.
Right?
Wrong.
And there's a piece of paper up here on the couch, tucked underneath as well.
Oh my God, that's the blankets, dude. If the bodies were wrapped in those blankets.
on the
The
bottom.
bodies were underneath the. I'm sorry, the bodies were on top
the blankets.
of those blankets.
You know, we'll just talk to some police officers that we know that would say that,
another
you know,
point.
after they find deceased bodies eaten up, they just take the blankets and throw them on the couch and take.
Well, that's another blanket. That's a
That
blanket on the
never
right.
happens. That's ridiculous.
Greg, that's another blanket.
Wow,
on the
thanks,
left.
Greg. I didn't know that.
Sure.
That's another blanket on the left-hand corner here too, on the floor.
That is a shawl, so that's probably from Kamel. So she probably had that on. Why it's way over there, I have no idea. But there's a lot of things in these later photos, which is what we're looking at, are some of the later photos where a lot of things are actually.
We're going to pull the bodies out. We're going to pull the blankets out from underneath the bodies and throw them in a crumpled mess on the couch and take
So
it.
Kamel's body would have been
Come
laying
on.
Correct.
down this way, Greg.
Correct.
Where this
That's right.
Staying, down this way here.
Mhm.
And her head.
This is worse than the Lanza house where they had the crime scene photos and,
Oh,
and
yeah,
the rooms are rearranged. Like the rooms aren't even in the same order that anyway. This is
But these lines
There you
here,
go.
Greg. These lines here, these three lines. I'm saying I saw it on the other window in the kitchen. It's the same. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying sorry. Yeah.
The
Anyway.
Vivid Monkey, no decom for 3 weeks on the car. I know, man. It's that ridiculous, and that's why again, it's really important when we're doing this to have credible sources and incredible. I mean, that's why when you go to court, they have like freaking experts testifying. You know, and this is when you have an expert look at this and say impossible. You know, you got a lot of credible people on your side rather than just us conspiracy theorists out here.
And Zadikin, I don't think David Crowley was related to Aleister Crowley.
No, but again, you got Mason, you got freaking Io, you got freaking Crowley. I mean, come on, man. They love doing it like this. They love
I know.
throwing those breadcrumbs out there like that for freaking people to pick up on and go, what the fuck?
You
But
did
most
it.
people are brain dead. You know,
Breadcrumbs,
how many have
All right,
gotten
but here's-
vax? How many have
here's
gotten the
something-
jab now in the U.S.? So, I mean, that's where we're at, folks.
But here's a
Well,
little
even-
something. You're going to need to ask the coroner this. You're going to have to ask to find about this in the report. And that would be about if they checked in the bathrooms and bedrooms for women's products. That would indicate amount of time that has gone by.
3 weeks. Great point. Another great point.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me, I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Apparently, Greg, have you heard? Because I use a pad and paper sometimes when I talk to people, that makes me a shill, and I'm taking.
Oh, is that right?
On them. Have you heard this yet? That's the news.
I haven't, but I have my.
Eric and I, we take notes all the time here.
Yeah.
And,
So women's products in the bathroom for 3 weeks, sure. Yes, that makes sense too.
But
Yeah.
I want to say this. I want to say this for the record. The chat room's been on fire tonight. Thank
Yeah, they
you to
have.
everyone that's been in the chat room.
Heck yeah, they're always the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Got a
And
bunch of stuff in there, yeah.
and also, if you haven't already followed, please hit the follow button. Your support is greatly appreciated. We've got shows 5 days a week, possibly 6 days a week, Monday to Friday / Saturday, because that's who we are. So,
Greg, why don't you, if you're able to, I'd love to have you back because I think you were on one show with Vinny Eastwood a while back. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know what happened to him, but he was
No, I
peacefully
didn't.
protesting in New Zealand. They threw him in jail. Now
Oh,
he's
my
out. He's on 24-hour surveillance. He gets visits for it. Yeah.
I did an
Leave his
interview,
house.
Greg.
And the charge is for freaking medical misinformation, going against the narrative.
my
All he's doing is
God,
Vinny, right?
me.
He's going to be on November 3rd at 10 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you
Greg-
on with him.
Sure.
Yeah, Greg, I did an interview with his wife, Sarah. It's on Southern Truth YouTube channel. Just
Yeah, I think I caught some of that. of that. Yeah.
so and that, but oh, Bill, this is something for you, Bill. The old gentleman in the photo, not in the photo, in the video yesterday, and Greg, because you watched the show yesterday too, Greg. I'm getting him on. He is a retired judge here in South Australia. He'll be coming on late next week.
Yeah, Jamie.
Nice.
Jamie has really been getting it, man. He's been at the protest in Australia, which Australia's. I mean, you might as well live in North Korea.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
And that's how New Zealand is now, and it is. It's freaking. It sucks. And Jamie, for you to hold out, you know what I mean, and freaking keep doing what you're doing. I know how hard that is, man.
That's a big deal.
Well,
yeah.
the support's here now. I mean, you guys are making this show what it is because I'm still in YouTube jail till tomorrow. Got one more strike. We can't talk about the stuff here on Twitch. What we do, well, we can't talk on YouTube. What we do here on Twitch. That's why
maybe we can talk about this.
This, but the other stuff that I talk about normally about COVID and that, no.
You can't talk about any of that. That's it. Yeah. You can talk about a lot of things, but that is a no. I'm surprised that Judy Mikovits video is still up on my station. I would have thought that got nuked. It's been up 3 days now. I'm just waiting. I know it's coming.
Don't worry, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
So this is a side note from Cass. I will be keen on doing this again for other cases like this. This is one of my brain chill things right here.
Me too. Love true crime.
There's going to be a lot more about this. I'm trying to go deep into the Son of Sam era of 1976 or 77. I want to go into that because there's a lot. But I've been trying to speak to the guy that's doing the Son of Sam. He doesn't want to come on the show, but who cares? We'll do it ourselves. But,
holy crap, we've been on here over 3 hours. Greg, always. Isn't that crazy? Unless it's like
it always happens.
Like on Red Radio where it's only 2 hours, we gotta go. It always ends up like
this. Without the time limit.
But guys, there's no time limit. This is no time limit. Cat, I Son of Sam. I can't. I know.
Samsonite.
I'm into true crime.
I guess what I'm saying is getting close to 4, so I probably gotta.
I'm going to be
4 hours. Jamie, it's 6 p.m. It's Margaritaville time.
We've been 24 hours here.
He's in Australia, right? We talked about this earlier. I'm like, dude, do you realize when it's 4 here, it's like 6 p.m. your time?
Talk about that. Talk about that. It's currently 6:08 right now.
6:30 at night, right?
6:08 right now. So yeah, but see, everybody's asking me. You live in the future, James. Can you give me the lotto numbers? I said, yeah, between 1 and 90. So that's all I can say.
We're gonna finish with that phone call though, without us talking over. Right? We're just gonna let it play through at the end. That was
before we do. Yes, we do. But before that, Greg, promote that book again. I'm going to put you on the solo screen so everyone can see this book.
Sure. Now, you can get this book for free right now. If you go to my website, thegraystage.wordpress.com, you can download this book for free right now. Of course, if you do want a physical copy like this, you will have to, I think it's like 15 or 20 bucks for that book. But I'd say download it first, read it there. You can print it out. And if you like it, if you feel like it's something worth buying, then buy it. But I definitely wanted to make sure that people have the actual research, that they can get it all free. So it's all there,
the book. If the grid goes down, you're not going to be able to look at that online.
Print it out. No, well, you can get
deserves a little bit of money for all the research he's done. You do, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
You do.
I know, but yeah, I know. Well, thank you for that. But
same thing, dude. He gives books away constantly. I'm not making that much money, It's like a prophecy, but he just gives them away because he wants to get the information out, and that's kind of like Greg is. That's
I would. I definitely will. I will send one your way. Tell me where to send it. I'll send. I do.
Australia? It only cost you about $200 shipping, probably.
That's all good. That's all good. Actually, I think if you buy it directly from lulu.com, you could probably. I know other people in other countries have purchased it directly from there. Yeah. So
I think that's where I got it from.
Yeah, and it's that's the best place to get it.
Talking about purchasing something, I was looking at online on Judas Priest's website last night, and they got a 50th anniversary of all their albums. It's going to cost me over $600.
That's worth it, though.
Over $600 to get it from England shipped to Australia.
By the way, can we talk about how freaking amazingly sweet Jujutsu is by Iron Maiden? Now, these guys are like freaking 69, 70, 72. They're in their 70s and still killing it. I just got to give a shout out to Iron Maiden.
Here we go. I'll bring out one of my favorite Iron Maiden albums right here.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Power Slave. It's Power Slave.
Power Slave.
Right, so I got it right there. So,
Aces Eye, y'all. But anyway, shout out to people that are out there freaking fighting for truth, freedom, and
that's right.
The human way, I guess. Now,
were there dog scratches for the attempt of the dog to try to get out after so much time? I mean, like.
You're still here, right, dude? You can go for seriously. You won't sleep all night. I've been there.
Welcome. You're going down that rabbit hole, Billy.
You guys. We did this. This is the rule. We were supposed to be doing this on Halloween, right? I mean, that's when we could have done it.
I didn't know we were going to go over the photos when.
Well, there is a paranormal aspect to this, and if we could do something like that for the Halloween, where we just talk about all of the paranormal aspects of this case.
There are many. Bill, about Greg, I said it doesn't. We can go any route you want. We can talk about
wherever you want to go.
Anything going on. He's Greg, very awake and aware.
Greg, you got an open invitation, man. You can come any day, any time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You always have. You know.
Yeah, but me, I'm starting a brand new show on Halloween night.
Nice.
So do I dress up as Freddy Krueger then?
Yeah, but
starting a brand new show, but I can't come on.
I know that fucking sucks, man. I'm like kind of pissed about it. Actually,
I don't want to come on.
I wish they didn't see if they didn't say anything. If they just simply, if you guys just butted heads and went your ways, you would have just came on and nobody would have known the difference. And I was gonna get you on anyway, but they had to fucking say it. Oh, sorry, Greg. We're talking over you. But hey, Greg.
That's okay. Yeah.
Greg, I've been banned from networks now because I'm a little too radical, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, we both have. You and I both.
I wear
somehow I'm not shocked about that.
Right.
I'm not shocked about that, Eric. Sorry.
But guys, listen, I got my new show coming up, and it's going to be called. I got a cool name. You got to remember. My show name that I had always planned on having is finally going to begin, called Argon. Going to be called Argon. Got to write that down. Argon. So we're going to have Argonites, people, Argon Knights, and
welcome to Argon.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but Greg, you can come on tomorrow night. I got a show Saturday. It's going to switch names next Saturday after. And
what time, Bill? Give him the time too.
Well, it's East Coast U.S. time, so it's the 10 to midnight show.
Okay.
You got Skype though, because I can only use Skype right now.
Yeah, I'm on Skype.
So that'll be 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, usually I'm good after like 9 p.m.
I hate stealing guests, but it just really
stealing guests. We share each other.
Yeah, I know. Like that's
how it works. Stealing guests.
I was kind of afraid to ask, but
here you go, Billy.
Billy and the Argonites. That's awesome. That's great.
Cool.
Hey guys, if you want to create a Southern Truth shirt, go ahead. Oh,
if you're not stealing guests, then we're not having the right guests on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, those kind of guests.
You guys in the chat room been a blast. Where have you been, people? Where have you been?
Yeah, they've been awesome. It's been great. I can't keep up with the chat room. There's
some solid hardcore 20, 30, would you say maybe 20, 30 people that are really is into this case as Greg is.
Well,
I shouldn't say there's over 4,000 on the page, but as far as doing live videos, there's people that they're really passionate about this case.
They really
Absolutely.
I don't know if I said it, but it's the I was originally going to start Argon. See, I'm starting my new show on Sunday, but that is going to be called my old show's name, and my old show is going to be the new name. So just to explain to anybody who might get confused, if you go try to listen to me, either Saturday versus Sunday night. So it's going to be both Saturday and Sunday nights at the same time. I'll have a show on, but tomorrow night, it's up to you. Like, I assume you guys are going to want to have Greg on your guys' show on Halloween. Now,
What? I'm not gonna be anywhere near my house on Halloween. I'm gonna be out.
Oh yeah, right.
In the pool.
Man, I wish there was going to be video though. There's no video. But
yeah, we need you to live stream it, Eric. Wherever.
Yeah, live stream. Or what we can do, we can probably hook up the OBS if I have it up and running by Halloween. I can't give you any promises. I can probably live stream it here on Twitch.
Do some simulcast, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to wait till Halloween, that might be. I don't know what they're going to say.
We will.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I mean, whatever's clever. I'm on Skype, so Greg Fernandez Jr. You'll find me there on Skype. So whatever works, man.
Yeah, you guys give him my contacts if you can. My Skype contact. Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys.
So
you can give them to him right now.
Yeah, give it to him right now.
Yeah, throw it out. Bill's like, oh my god, I might be stealing somebody. No, I'm playing, dude. No, friggin' Greg needs as much exposure as possible because he got the goods.
Yeah, well, you want to get this word out.
He's debated anyone he's stepped up to the plate and debated anybody who had an alternative view and done it with a dignity and class too.
Yeah, we want to clear Dave's name too. That's kind of what I was thinking, you know.
That's right.
You guys just keep talking. I've got to run to the toilet right now.
Keep talking. It's almost 4 here. I'm gonna play the phone call.
I'm heading to bed myself.
All right.
I'm gonna play the phone call to take us out, if that's okay with you guys.
All right. So we're gonna play the phone call.
Yeah. And I'll shut up.
And then
believe it or not,
Greg, this will be re-uploaded onto Rumble.
Cool. I'm gonna find you there.
So
okay.
And I will also upload this onto Southern Truth YouTube channel as well. But guys, you guys are the best. Everybody, the too many to name here. You guys are awesome. Thank you for chatting. I'm going to have that judge next week, but we're also trying to get Max Egan. He's still relocating. He's still busy, and Judy Markovic.
Yeah, it'll be about a week. He'll be done. He had to move.
It'll be a week.
And he's going to talk about that story too, Greg. Yeah. There's another one for you. Max had to move.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So there's a lot coming up.
There's a lot coming up. So, but if you want to continue to watch Southern Truth, tune in Monday next week from 10 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Eastern, which will be 7 p.m. Pacific time. And those people that from Australia, you know what time I go on. It's 12:30 Central Time in the afternoon here in Australia. So take it away, Eric.
All right. Again, thanks for having me on as always, Jamie. What a great brother and co-host you are. Bill Grant, same to you, brother. Thank you so much. And Greg, man, we gotta get together more often.
Absolutely.
It's been too long.
You're
much
right.
love to you, brother.
It was
and everybody in the chat room.
Yeah, great chat room. Awesome.
And people in the Justice for David Crowley page. Much love for hanging in there. All right, so we're gonna play this phone call, and I'm gonna mute out, so you don't hear me. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
All right, Greg. I'll see you tomorrow and or Halloween. So.
All right, my brother.
Cool, brother.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Chat as well. Oh, and thanks, Zadoki and Billy and the Argonauts. Little thing he put in there. All right, guys, have a good night.
Welcome to the resistance. Peace.
Some fire, I'm help you.
Yes, this is Judy Prochnow, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive.
Yes.
I think there's been a murder or suicide next door.
What's going on?
Well, we've noticed that they haven't been around, and there were Christmas presents on the stoop, so I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely some bodies in the living room.
Oh, okay. Stay on the line with me just a minute. Do you know what their address is?
Well, I'm 1055, and they would be to the west of me.
Okay, the house. So
like 1050 or whatever.
Okay, so if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy, would it be the house to the right or the left?
If you're facing my house, it would be your right.
Right. What are you seeing in there?
it just looks like there's a pile of bodies and one, like the head is eaten off.
Oh, no.
I suppose by the dog. And my husband thought they were dummies, but the hands look real. And they would have been there since before Christmas.
Okay, and so you haven't seen...
And all their Christmas lights are still on in the house. And my husband said he saw a gun.
On the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, stay on the line with me just a minute, please.
It'd be a husband, wife, and child.
Stay on the line with me. I'll get some people rolling over there. You saw Christmas presents?
Colin, I'm calling 911.
You saw presents inside the home too?
There's presents on the front step, and they've been there since before Christmas. And there's definite. I just peeked in the front window, and it's gross. Colin, what's their address? 1051 Ramsdale Drive.
Okay,
Don't look in the window, Lorraine.
1051 Ramsdale Drive. Okay.
Right.
And you said
Lorraine, don't look in there. No.
So it looks
Don't look in there.
looks like multiple bodies inside.
Yes.
And it looks like the dog may have been...
Yes.
Okay. You saw the gun on the floor there?
Yes, my husband saw it. He's not here right now. He's talking to the other neighbor. We hadn't seen any movement over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas, and we came back from Florida this week, and we still hadn't seen, and the presents were still there, so my husband went over there to check.
Okay. They thought they were gone for Christmas, haven't seen any movement.
So there hasn't been anything movement there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled. Excuse me, I think I have to throw up.
Okay, yeah, okay, ma'am. I won't keep you any longer, okay, Judy?
Okay, thank
I appreciate the call. I got help coming, okay?
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Catch you next week, guys. You've been awesome. Peace.